in progress.
Right. So good evening, everybody. It's Tim Kelly at Motorclaimguru. So tonight's a quick session on business training. So the things we're going to go into are how to develop a business plan about your business, what type of things you need to be doing, what research you need to be doing, looking at what your business does, what services it provides. Have you searched your local demographics? So do you know who your competitors are? Because the last thing you want to be doing is actually be operating in an area that's highly saturated with people doing the same thing as yourself. You'll make sure that you're in an area that's a bit more niche, that makes you special because you do something different. Whether that's actually different in terms of the quality of the work you provide or a completely different service. Both of them are something different. You need something to make sure that you're differentiated from who's out there. Looking at what your client base is. So what is your audience that you want? I would be looking away from anything typically related to insurance type of repairs. I'll be looking at alternative things. What I also be suggesting is looking at different income streams or different type of services you can be doing using the products that you've got. So Rachel's a great example of this because she's done absolutely all sorts in terms of like painting window frames to shoes to cars to things. So don't just restrict yourself to working on vehicles. It could be absolutely anything where you've got services. I've got a repairer that I work with in my local village, and he's a classic car repairer. He's got work coming out of his ears, and yet he's currently working for the MOD, painting window frames for, it's a research facility and a biological testing facility that needs to be absolutely immaculate. And he's got 40 window frames to paint. And they've gone to him because they know they'll do a good job on it, basically. It'll be a mint job because it needs to be spotless. So what I'll be doing in the next 12 months, certainly, like I said, is everything around business is going to increase massively in terms of costs. For any business that's out there that isn't or doesn't understand how to run a business, doesn't understand how to calculate their operational cost, if you don't know how much it's costing you to run a business a month, then you can't possibly know what profit you're making. And the whole point of you being in business isn't to repair vehicles. The whole point of you being in business is to make profit. That's the fundamental thing about your business. So anybody who thinks you're in business to repair cars, you're not. No, it's all about earning money. Now, what we'll be doing is we're looking at how to help you with that. So things you need to be looking at are marketing. So one of the most common things I get told by people when I say about your client base and it is always primarily about the lack of profitability in business. And I'll say, well, but you've all got work coming out your ears, but you're not making profit. So it's a really common theme here. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's not logical. So how can you be in a situation where you've got work coming out your ears, but you don't make profit? Then what that means is basically you're not charging enough. It's as simple as that. And again, the main thing I get told by people is that, well, we get all our work by word of mouth. Now, contrary to what people believe, word of mouth isn't the best thing. Because if you've got a word of mouth reputation where you're getting all your business in, you've got to think about what those people are saying when you've got your word of mouth business. And generally, if you've got work coming out of your ears and all your business is word of mouth, what they're saying is they're good and cheap. So if you're good and cheap, you're not making profit. So what you need to be doing is, if you've got loads of work at the moment and it's helping keep the lights on, what you then need to be doing is establishing what type of work can you be doing that gives you the maximum profit for what you're doing. So we'll look at a bit of that. We'll look at the marketing side of it. So the primary thing about running a business is about understanding your numbers, understanding your operational cost. You need to really know your numbers. You need to know how many hours you're selling. Out of those hours you're selling, how many hours are productive? So if you're in a business, for example, not picking on you, Sonny, but it's just it's easy. Because you've got Naomi working with you as well, it actually doesn't matter how many hours Sonny sells because he's still got to pay for his wife in the business because she's doing the admin side of it and basically getting the work in as well. So if, for example, you charge £40 an hour out on your labour rate, if you've got two people there, then all of a sudden that £40 an hour isn't £40 an hour, it's £20 an hour. So it then means that if your break-even rate on your business, if you've just calculated it on yourself and not as a a pair of people working there, if your break-even rate is £24 an hour, it means you're losing money on every hour you've got. So all that then means is that it's going to kill your cash flow and you'll be out of business in 12 months. So that's why it's imperative you understand your figures. The things like understanding your profit ratio, that's the other side of it. Knowing what customers are going to pay you more is another thing. So we'll go through the basic plan of operating a business, your operational cost, working out where your profit is, what customers are profitable, and what are the things we can do to basically just make you more money. And then we'll look at what services you provide. And what else should we do? And then what we'll do is we'll do a bit of an open section at the end of it. So if anybody have got any questions for me, just stick your hand up or unmute yourself, ask me the question. So it's not about me running through what I'm going to do with you and just talking straight at you. And this is also why I said, like, this is why I like to see videos on, and you can unmute yourself if you want to, because feel free to ask me a question. I'm by no means an absolute expert in business, but go on, Sonny, unmute yourself. All right, you can't unmute yourself. I'll try again. Hang on. Ask to unmute. How's that?
Does that work?
Yeah, it's worked now.
Yeah, just to add for those who are here, just in case you're unaware, there's a file section within the refinishing crew. So it's hard to find sometimes depending on what app you're using and what phone you're using. But within the file section, you can click into that, and there's Tim uploaded about a year ago a calculator which can work out your labor rates and stuff like that. So some good resources within that part of the finishing crew.
So what Sonny's talking about is this, which is something we'll go through. So can you all see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Cool. So this is a calculator that's actually on the Refinishers Crew's files, and you can download it. So there's a means of helping you work out, and you can change these to whatever you want as well. So you can put different things that's in it. We've got that one, and then what I've also got as well is a cash flow forecaster, which you can use for your personal stuff as well as your business. So we can do that. So it's just basically a spreadsheet with your stuff in it. So what we can do is we can look at your different costings of what your income is through your sales, look at your operational cost. Now, the good thing about this as well is that when we look at what your income is, if you've split down what things you're spending your money on as part of the process of repairing a vehicle, and what kind of materials, sanding discs, stuff like that, you can keep track of it, and you can work out, because what most people do is, in certain smaller body shops, is that they'll cost a job based on how they see it in terms of paint materials and labour. But what I said about the overall cost of everything's changing, things like drill bits, you know, if you do you're drilling spot welds out, and like everything's just going up. So understanding the cost to actually physically repair the vehicle by itemizing every single thing that you use in that repair process is imperative. Because anytime you don't track the cost of something, and it could be something as simple as a DA disc, you know, if you're using cheap shitty discs and you're they're like 20p a piece, but you use 10 of them, or you might use an expensive one and use one, use it on 2 or 3 cars, you'll be able to compare whether it's best to use a cheap product or a more expensive one, and work out, you know, which one gains you the most profit. And everything you're doing is about making the most profit. So you could easily change this spreadsheet however you want to incorporate that. But like I said, that's on the Refinishers Crew file as well, but we'll go through that later on.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay. So what I'll do is, there's a show of hands. Put your hands up if you've ever had business training. Is it 4? No. Okay. So if you've never had business training, so how much training did you have to repair a car? A year? 2 years? So stick your hand up then. We'll go up as high as we can then to see how many years training you've had been in the industry. So have you had more than... You've not got enough hands, Rob. So have you had more than 5 years of training in the business? Put your hand up with repairing cars. So DP also works less than 5 years or more than? 4? Cool, okay. So DP also works again. So is it your own business you've got? Yeah, okay. So you'll see there's quite a diverse mixture of people on here in terms of age groups. Some younger than us, and some just look younger than others. So, and some have just got unflattering video shots like Craig, and he's just like looking up his nose, but there we go. So what you've got, and this is something I find quite weird as well, and it's something I experienced myself in that a lot of us have been in the repair industry for a long amount of time, and we've took a lot of time to go to college, learn how to repair cars, physically work on vehicles, become more polished at being professional in doing that. And then you might have worked in a business for somebody else for 10 or 15 years and then think, you know what, actually, I can do this myself. And then what we all do is we then go from working in a business to working on ourselves without the slightest bit of any type of business training whatsoever. And it's one of the main reasons why most businesses are doomed to fail in the first 3 years. And pretty much most of them do. So one of my favorite books, which if you haven't got it, get it, is that one. It's called The E-Myth, Why Most Businesses Fail. Now, it doesn't completely represent our industry. It's more aimed at selling things and then scaling up, but it does cover quite a large aspect of what we do in a business in terms of how you structure it, how you scale up, what people you want in what roles. And again, what you need to remember is that it's not about repairing vehicles, it's about creating a business. And fundamentally, you need to work out a life plan, which might sound a bit daft when we're talking about business training to say, right, this is what we're going to do and how we're going to make you more profit. But what you need to do with any type of business you've got is think, why do I want my own business? It's as simple as that. So if you think you're going in business to get a better quality of life, which is primarily the reason why you're doing it, because then you're in control of your life, then you need to work out from that point of view then, what is it you want from it? So do you want something that's no stress, doesn't make an awful lot of profit, but you can get away with it? Or is it something where you want to create a business that allows you to walk away from it in 5 or 10 years' time as you can retire early? Well, they're both very different things, because one's easy and one's not. So the one that's not is the one that means it takes effort from you to create something and then create a model where you've got a model in place where you've got a skeleton of staff inside it in different roles, from CEO down to directors, sales and marketing, to then staff who actually physically work on the vehicle, admin staff. You want to create something in such a way whereas then business is then working without you. So the things you need to think about within your business is where do you want to be in 10 years time, in 15 years time? And again, it's kind of a long-term thing, but as soon as you start your business, that's what you want. So if you want a business that's turning over £1 million a year, that is actually your starting point. Whereas what happens is when you start a business, you think, right, I can do that myself. I'll get some premises, I'll get some equipment, I'll crack on. And then you might earn X amount in the first year, you might earn £2 profit. And then the next year you might earn £5 profit, and the next year might be 15, and the next year 40. But the thing is that because you're kind of just blundering on and getting to a point and you're not planning where you're going to go, it's like using sat nav to get from A to B and then turn the destination off. You're kind of like, well, I'm going on a journey, but I don't know where. And because you lack direction, you end up going around in circles and getting nowhere. So what you need to do is find a destination, work back from the destination and work out how to get there. So then what you can then do is you need to work out a plan. Now, the thing is, when you start doing business planning, is the art of doing a good business plan is actually not to plan, which sounds, again, counterintuitive. So you need to realize that within a business plan that you've got, it can change. Now, the reason why I say about having a business plan where you don't plan is that you don't need to plan every single little bit of things to get in from one point to another. But what you want to do is basically set yourself a goal of, right, in 20 years time, I want a business that earns £1 million a year or turns over it. So we're then, you know, in 5 years, I want it to do 500 grand. And then in the first 3 years, I want it to do 50 grand. Now, all you need to do is work out how to do each one of those steps. If you think about the end goal of trying to get to, say, you know, £10 million a year, it seems impossible. But if you go from thinking like, right, well, if I can double that turnover every year, it's actually not as big as what you think it is, because you go like from 5 grand to 10 grand to 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, then 80 to all of a sudden it starts getting big, 80 to 160, 160 to 320. And each year on year, all of a sudden, as long as you keep doing what you plan to do, it grows really quickly. But what you need to be able to do is plan for that growth. So that's what you're doing with it. So things of how you can fail, again, so this again might seem an odd way of looking about it, to rather than me telling you how to be successful, it's actually easier to tell you how not to fail or how to fail. So doing your research in the area of where you're working. So is your business premises in a place that's saturated with people with money? Or is it in an area where there's no money? Is it, you know, a poor deprived area, or the quality of cars isn't there? So look at what car dealerships is in the area. It's a good example. So if you're in an area where there's like loads of BMWs, VW, Audi, that type of thing, and there's loads of them knocking around because there's loads of lease deals going on, then chances are people have got more money to spend on cars. If you live in an area, I'm just trying to think of the guy's name who's just, Rachel, your friend, who's never happy. When we spoke about him the other week, and he's finally give up the ghost. Do you know what I mean, don't you? He's finally wound his business up. The guy who does the TV work as well, the cars and stuff in. You know what I mean now, don't you? So things like this guy's situation was unfortunate, because when his body shop was originally working, it was designed in such a way whereas you'd have to go to him to find him. But the whole network of roads around where he was changed. So it then meant he got no passing trade. But what he should have done 20, 30 years ago was change his premises to somewhere else, but he didn't. He kept on with the lease. But then because there was no passing trade and he didn't advertise and didn't any marketing side of it, it then starts affecting things. And it can affect your business. So if you're in a situation where you haven't started a business, that's your starting point. Find an area that has the potential to hit the customers that you want to hit, that have the most money. That's so, for example, where I live, Sonny will probably tell you this as well, I live in quite an affluent area. So a lot of the people in my area have got bags of cash. So a good indicator, this again is, look out for things that are pointers to you. So a good pointer for me that an area's got loads of money is that, look at all the restaurants. So if there's a shed load of really good quality restaurants and high quality shops and posh supermarkets, chances are the people in that area have got a lot of money. Now, if I was a savvy businessman, that's the area I'd be positioning my body shop in. Now, the thing that you've got is that we've actually got a benefit from being up north compared to being down south with the north-south divide. Because what you've got is that there's a lot of money down south, but the operational cost of living down there are hugely expensive through ground rates and things like that. And certainly when you get down to like the M25, that type of area. Up north, premises are generally a lot cheaper. So you there's a potential in the future, and certainly if you did want to work with insurance companies, even though I recommend people don't, there's actually a potential there for businesses up north to be better than ones down south, and you can start pinching work off there if you ever got to the size that could do. So there's a lot of repairers at the moment. You'll see there's a lot of insurance companies starting to open up their own body shops, and what they're doing is the body shops are opening in up north. And there's a reason for that, and that's what it is. So they'll start farming cars up. Now, do your research in your local area, work out what money is there, and then the next thing you want to do is work out whether you want a body shop that's got a lot of people working for you, or it's just you. Now, if you're planning on having a model that has a volume of work, you can't do it on your own. you'll need to cover the cost of the actual ground rent or whatever business it is you're operating. So you'll need staff. With staff comes a bit of a pain in the backside of managing them and how you manage them and then how you pay them. And then what you then basically create then is the larger the business you've got, the bigger animal you're creating. Now, when you look at a business, people think that to be a successful, profitable business, you need to be huge because it's the only way you can grow and turn over millions of pounds worth of money and make loads of profit off it. That's not necessarily the case. Sorry, you won't believe my tooth just fell out. I've got a cap, it's just dropped off. Very weird. So what you can look at is that sometimes it's best to work for yourself, because when you work for yourself, your operational costs are less. Now, again, things that you can be doing with that is that if your operational costs are less, first of all, even though I say charge as much as you can, it allows you more flexibility to be either more productive or more flexible on what you charge. So it can give you a competitive advantage over anybody who's in your area. But what it also does is that if you've got a business, you're paying for it 24 hours a day, for example, you can either do more hours to earn more money, or you could rent that property out whilst you're not in it and get somebody else carrying on working while you're not, which reduces your overheads. Or what you could do is specialize in a certain thing that nobody else is doing. So what you could do is classic car restoration is a good example, because the equipment you need is going to be a lot less than what it would have been doing conventional repairs. Just excuse me a second, because it's that's bizarre. It's just, as I'm talking, I can feel it clicking going on. What's going on then? Sorry about that. I know that's through eating curly whirlies last night. Pull them out. So you're looking at what type of business you're going to do. So look at the best model that earns you the most profit. So again, do your research in your local area. Look at who your competitors are. Are there lots of repairers doing the same type of work? Because if there's lots of repairers out there doing the same type of work, you don't want to be doing that. You need something that differentiates you away from them. Okay. So what does that work look like? Oh, we've got somebody else coming in. So what does that work look like? So again, so what you want to be doing is literally getting an A4 pad and writing down absolutely anything you can think of that you could do. So whether it's painting products, painting kitchen cupboards, so it's basically anything you can paint, you can put down as an idea. But through repairing cars, look at where the money is. So there's a lot of small repairers out there that do a lot of trade work, and I understand that's kind of a lot of your bread and butter. But if you're just starting off, that might be a great thing to do, just so you can keep the lights on. But the thing I can't get my head around, that makes my brain spin, is when you see body shops that are still doing trade work 10 years on. And I'm like, why would you continue doing work that doesn't earn you profit or earns you very little profit? So it doesn't make sense. So what you want to be doing is, if you think about what does a good contract, for example, let's use that to make it easy. So you've got a contract with a trader or whoever. What does a good contract look like? So if you're getting work from somewhere, we'll say that's a contract, and you're going to get X amount of vehicles a month off them. If you're earning £100 per vehicle off that, what you want to be doing is looking at a contract with somebody else for a similar volume of work that earns you more, and then place them above the trade work. So then you've got two, for example. Then what you then need to do is carry on replicating the better contracts that you've got. So people I'd be looking at people like fleet companies. So fleet companies, generally what you'll find is they've got a very high excess, they're self-insuring, and they don't want to go through their insurance company. Now, you could offer them a service there where it would allow you to charge more money than what you'd do through to an insurance company, and you won't get the friction and a lot of the hard work of costing it. Get that in then as a different type of work. And then what you want to then do is replicate that. Now, the more different types of companies that you start working with, or different people or organizations, what happens is, say you've got a tier, like that's the best contract that pays you £50 an hour and makes you loads of profit, and your cash flow is really good. Cash flow is another thing we'll get into in a bit. You've got another one underneath it that pays 40, another one underneath that pays 30, then you got your traders underneath that. What you want to be doing is getting contracts that are all like this. That's your goal. Your goal is to get every single contract that earns you £100 an hour, for example, the best one. Once you start getting people like that, you can start pushing away the ones that are crap. So it then means that for every job that you get that pays you more money, it means what you're actually doing is you're saving yourself time. Because if you get a job and you're charging £40 an hour on it, it means that you're only working 1 hour compared to 2 hours at £20 an hour. And the thing that people forget about is it's not necessarily about what you charge per hour. It's about the money. It's about the time you save. But that actually then exponentially goes up, because say, for example, you're on £40 an hour and your shit one's at £20 an hour. So you're working half as much time. If you're charging £80 an hour, you're working a quarter as much time as doing the crap jobs. So again, there's a few people that I speak to on the refinishers crew, and I'll coach them through and mentor them. I'll say, like, right, what is it you're doing? And they don't have the time to invest in the business. They'll say, I'm just busy all the time. I've got all this work, Tim. It's great that you want to do training with me, but I'm just really, really busy. I can't spend the time to work on the business. But then they're working on the business at £35 an hour, and they're just covering their overheads and making a bit of money on the side of it, when what they could be doing is spending the amount of time you need to spend on your business rather than in your business is frightening as well. And it changes as the better you get. And then it does come easier at some point. But certainly at the very start, the point when you think you actually got the least amount of time to spend on your business is the time you need to spend in the most time on your business. And then gradually it starts getting a little bit easier because you've got other people to help you do what you're doing with it. So that in itself it's imperative to making profit. So you need to be charging as much as you can and replicating it all the time. So just at that point, any questions? Put your hand up if you've got anything. I still can't believe my cats fell off. That was mad. I could feel it sticking. I'm like, what's going on there? Bizarre. Right. Go on, Sonny. Right, hang on. I need to change that. I'll see if
that system's annoying, isn't it?
It's pain in the backside, that is.
Yeah. No, just to illustrate your comment about obviously it's still work in progress at my place. Nowhere near where I want to be in business. But yeah, I made a conscious choice to differentiate my business probably about 3 years ago, and the way I'm doing it is I'm trying to separate myself from the crowd by putting my prices up, which is been really productive actually. So I'm getting the work that I want to get. In fact, I was tagged into a comment on Facebook in one of the local community groups, and the comment was, "Oh, you don't want to go to his shop. He's extortionate." And for a moment, I was offended, and then when I kind of had to think about it, and basically I just came back with, "Listen, we're not here to cater for everyone. So those who are shopping pure on price, I got plenty of places I can refer you on to or point you in a different direction. But for me, I'm aiming at quality, blah blah blah." So and yeah, it's serving me well, that approach, and this is why I'm investing into the premises, making it look more presentable. Tim's been in my workshop, and he will confirm that it hasn't been very presentable up until recent. It's getting there. Still work in progress, but yeah, making really good progress. So that's
so this is when I say to you about business and labour rates and competitors. That's a differentiator. So something as simple as making the place where you work more presentable to customers allows you to charge more money. So that in itself. So the thing that really annoys me when I see stuff in the refinishers crew is when people say, like, how much do I charge and what would you charge for this? And well, there's always somebody putting a shed down the road who'll do it for cheaper. And the thing is, Fred in the shed doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. So anytime you think you're competing on price, you don't understand business. It's as simple as that, because what you should be doing is looking at what differentiates you away from your customers. So what I'd be doing is going, if somebody was saying, well, I can get it cheaper down the road, I'd be going, can you only afford that amount of money to get a job done? Because you do realize that if that's all you can afford, you're going to get a crap job. And I don't do crap jobs, I only do good jobs. So, you know, if you want a good job, use me. But no, if you want a crap job, then, you know, don't pay anything. Pay very little. And it's that stuff like when we see stuff on the VWT4 transporters Facebook page, which is absolutely just an absolute boon of hilarity, of which last week I was ripping something to pieces politely, just kind of poking fun, kind of going, well, yeah, it ain't going to be good. But there's things like, another good example what I'll give you as well is that we'll go into about how to make profit and differentiate yourself away from other people. And I'll show you the Kruger scale. And it's a really interesting thing. I'll see if I've queued it up. So it's called the Dunning-Kruger scale. And what the Dunning-Kruger scale is basically, it relates to experience, and it's also about kind of like imposter syndrome as well. So you've got people out there who think they know everything, which generally is a consumer on the VWT5 crew who thinks you can get a car repaired for 500 quid, it's going to be absolute mint. And then somebody's come up with some rattle cans and going, yeah, I've done loads of these, they're fantastic, and I've done a mint job. Then you're going like, yeah, that ain't going to be great. And then you've got people who are professionals in the industry, but aren't great business people. And then they're actually not charging as much as what they should be doing. So they're doing an all right job, with an all right service, with an all right amount of money that they're charging, but they're not making any profit. And then what starts happening then is that as you come out of that scale, you start understanding the value of your worth. Now, the problem you've got is, and I'll bring this up so you can see it. All right, which screen am I on? Right, so I'll have to change that again. Hang on. I'll have to zoom this in. So excuse me, because I'm just doing something in the background here. Just making sure you can see it. We'll bring that down. And what I'll do with it is I'm just going to, oops, today's it. In the chat box, I will stick a link to the page I'm looking at, so you can see it. Now, the Dunning-Kruger scale is it's a really interesting thing. And it's the effect of it. So can you see this okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. We'll bring it in. And what, so can you all see that okay? Yeah. Great. I need to do something with this muting on entry and stuff. It's doing me tree. Let's have a look, microphone. So I can't tell an action. So what you got with it is basically to the left-hand side over here where it's confidence and zero knowledge. That's people who think they know everything, and yet they don't. And what happens is, the more you start learning, the more you start realizing that how little you know. And the same is applicable to prices. So what you've got is people here, people at the top end of this scale are people who aren't charging any money for doing a crap job, who think they're doing a great job. And then as you start getting down to the bottom of this scale here, this is the area whereas you've actually got repairers doing an all right job, but they're not charging enough money, not making enough profit. And you come out of it, you've got the experts then who start coming out. And the funny thing about being an expert and start understanding the value of your worth, which is what you all need to be doing, you all need to understand that you're worth way more money than you're all charging by a massive amount. And this is the reason why you need to be not scared of asking for it. The thing is that if you don't start asking for it, and so you can make more profit, you won't get it. So if you never ask for it, you'll never get it. So you need to ask for it. Some might say yes to it, some might say no to it. But what happens is you start becoming an expert, you get into this really weird juxtaposition of how people treat you. In the more you charge, the less they quibble. So if you think about what customers you've got and how they are, when you start trying to do cheap jobs, you'll find people argue about them and try and chip you down for like a couple of £100 or a fiver or a tenner or something like that. When you start charging a lot more for the services you provide, and certainly some customers I know, look at different classic car restoration places where they don't even ask, they just pay it. Now, that's the kind of perfect type of customer you want, really. So what you've got with this Gunninger-Kruger scale is that it's where they've got total conviction about what they're doing. So what I'd recommend you do is I'll read the page I put on the link for you. The other side of it is cheap isn't great. But what you've got is that it's this lack of confidence that most of the repair industry has that affects your pricing. And certainly when I see comments on the refinishes crew and people saying like, what would you charge for this? Well, going back to your business compared to other people's business and why you should never compare yourself to somebody else, they might not have your operational costs. Well, if their operational costs are different to yours, then how do you know whether your price is competitive or not compared to theirs? So there's no price trying to kind of be cheaper than Fred in the shed down the road, because you might literally just be, as we were saying with that T5 group, it might be some young lady with a rattle can who's knocking resprays out at £500, whereas you're a professional business. And what you've also got to remember as well is that if you're pricing jobs up cheap and you're not making much profit on it, but you're trying to do it to a budget, that you're still dealing with the consumer. And the problem you've got with the consumer is that they've got the right to reject goods and services. So under the 2015 Consumer Rights Act, if your job isn't fit for purpose as described as of merchantable quality, and you haven't carried out due care, skill and attention and diligence in doing it, then that customer's got the right to reject it. Now, not only that, they've got the right to actually request for their work to be redone. So obviously that's going to cost you more money. But if it's really, really bad, and this is the thing that all different body shops don't seem to be grasping, that terrifies the living daylights out of me, because I end up to the other end of it sorting it out, is that where a consumer's lost faith in that original repairer, they've got the right to go somewhere else and have it redone again. So that means that you go out and do a cheap job, they reject it, and they go somewhere else that's a lot more expensive, and they can validate your job's wrong, and they can claim back the cost of rectification. If it went to court, you'd lose. But you could end up paying twice to do a job that, you could have been doing something else in the difference in the background, making more profit on it. So any questions? I'm going to try and unmute you. I'm going to try and get talking a bit, because when it's just me talking, it's hard work. So let me just, right, ask to unmute you, ask to unmute you. Aside from the fact I like participation as well. And James has got a look of that you could quite be talking to if you tried. But as for Debbie, I know she could talk for England. And I think I'll just keep Rachel muted.
Not that bad.
You're quite quiet, to be fair.
Depends who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, we had one in today that he wanted quite a cheap job doing,
Yeah.
and it needed blending into the quarter. And we have reached the point where we basically said to him, it's not really worth our while doing a cheap job for someone, because for one thing, we've had too many come back and bite you in the bum, because it's always the people who say, oh no, I'll be fine, I'm not that bothered, I just want it tidied up. It's always those people who then come back and say, oh, I'm not happy with this bit, I'm not happy with that bit. And it's also, if they go off and go, oh, I'm happy with it, and then they tell all of their friends, oh look, this is who did this job, and you're not happy with it, it's not the kind of thing that you want sort of sent out. So yeah, we're at the point where we're just saying, either pay to have it done properly, or we don't want to do it.
Yeah. See, the other thing as well you got to think about is that anything you put out there is a reflection of your work. So why wouldn't you do a good job? And the only way of doing a good job is doing it right. There's certain things you can do to kind of make it a bit more cost effective in terms of what products you use and stuff like that. But fundamentally, the amount the cars I see that have been painted and the overspray that's on them, or they've been masked up for daft stuff that you just whipped off, and you're thinking at some point, what you want is that whatever work you do is an advertisement of the service you provide to other people. And if you do work down that route of word of mouth, that you want that word of mouth to be good. So the best type of word of mouth is somebody saying, actually, it was really, really expensive, but my God, did they do a good job? And then it's like, it's never going to come back and bite on the backside of it. Right, okay. Any questions? Anything you want to know? So, Jake, have you got your own business?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been in business for?
About 4 years, about 4 or 5 years.
Okay. And how are you finding it?
Hard. It is hard.
So is it just you then? Have you got a few people with you?
I've just got one person working with me. We're very, very small premises, hopefully moving soon.
Right.
So it's like probably only just about fit 2 cars in there. So it is a struggle. But it's a really good spot.
Yeah.
Lots of work.
So lots of work. So where's that work come from?
Well, there's one guy that does it in the village. Like we're in like quite a countryside place.
Yeah.
There's only one other guy and he's not very good. So everyone uses us because they say, oh yeah, well, he does it and it's shit, but come to Jake and it's good. So we're inundated with work, but we just don't have the space to turn it around fast enough.
Right. So I take it you're looking to scale up then. You said like get different premises and get it bigger. And
yeah, I mean, that's a necessity because we don't even have a separate prep beta booth and all that lot at the moment.
Yeah.
We're just working with what we've got, but it's how big do you go?
Yeah. So what you want to look at now then is, so if you've got loads of work, so how far in the future are you booked up for?
About a month and a half, but we have a yard space for like 15 cars and it's just always rammed full of trade work, and as fast as one's done, they drop another one off.
Right.
They don't even say thank you, they just go, all right, yeah, on this next one.
Yeah. So if you got all the trade work, you're too cheap.
Well, yeah.
So if you had more business that you were charging twice as much for, would you need to move premises?
But it's how high do you go? That's the problem.
No, it's not. It's not a problem. You go as high as you want.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's like, when you say like, yeah, but if I go too high, they'll go away. No, the traders will go away.
Yeah.
The good quality work that's waiting a month and a half because you're full of trade work will still be sat there waiting to be done.
Yeah.
So what you do is, like I said, you get rid of the stuff that's not paying you enough, because all that ends up is you'll be a busy fool. But the problem you'll be now is that if you've got tons and tons and tons of work that's trader work, because all the cost of stuff's going to go up, so all your paint and your lacquers, and then so have you got a low bake? You got a paint booth?
Yeah.
So are you on gas bottles? Are you on
gas?
Yep. So it's going to cost you more to do your trader work, but they'll still want it cheap.
Yeah, you just put your paint and materials cost up.
Well, you could be doing the same thing for a consumer and charging more money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could be doing that. So then the next scale then is that if you get somewhere bigger, you could use the trade work to fill it in, but still do your consumer stuff. But the problem you've got is then you need more staff.
Yeah.
So because you're in somewhere rural, can you get the staff to fill a bigger place?
Well, this is it. Yeah.
So then it's,
if you move into a town centre, then you're going to be competing against all the ones that are already established.
yeah, and that's why you then need to differentiate yourself in terms of the work you do.
Yeah.
So find stuff that they don't do, or do what they don't do and do it better.
Yeah.
So if there's loads of competitors in the area, just be better than them and charge more. And again, because what you then find is that, like I said, you've already got one competitor in the village and he's crap. Well, the same applies in a town centre as well. So if you've got loads of other body shops, it's what's weird is when you start selling your services on quality rather than price, people pay it.
Yeah.
So, Jason, how about you? You just muted, mate. I'll try and unmute you again. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I'm based up in Bury, Lancashire. And
Down the road for me then. I'm from Bury.
oh, right, okay. Just let me okay this. Hang on. Ah, there we go. Right, I can see you now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's small body shop. There's only me and my father working in it.
Yeah.
So, mainly, it's vehicle restoration work that I do
Whereabouts in Bury are you?
on Freetown.
Freetown Industrial Estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know where you are.
All right. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I am. It's I started up and moved into the premises that I've got now about a year, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's like I say, it's just a small little unit. I didn't want to get into trade work. That was the last thing that I wanted to do. So I thought, right, I'll just get into something that I wanted to do and what I love. And I had a passion for classic cars. So I thought, right, okay, go start doing classic cars. So got a couple of jobs in, and one thing led to another. It built up, and yeah, that's what I'm doing now, classic cars.
Is it just you then? Have you got a couple of people?
No, it's just me and my dad.
Yeah.
So
how booked up for you?
not very. COVID kind of killed me.
Yeah.
And then I've come back from COVID. The way I got out of it was I bought my own car and I've redone it.
Yeah.
So just restored it myself, and I've used it as like a showpiece kind of thing of this is what can be achieved, and this is the work and the quality that I want to put out.
Yeah.
So that's where they've gone with there. So that's what I've done. And from that, I've got I had a Mini Countryman come in that wanted doing. Now the guy that I did that for, he's in the trade. He's does a lot of Rolls Royces and Bentleys and that kind of classic cars, but he doesn't do paintwork. So sort of like teamed up with him kind of thing.
Yeah.
He had a Mini Countryman of his own personal car, so I painted that for him, but he did all the metal work on it. I've just done the body work on it, and that was it. It came as a bare shell, and it left as a bare shell, painted, and that was it. Nice, easy little job. He's introduced me to a couple of other of his friends that work doing the same kind of thing. That they're struggling to get painters, that want to do that kind of work. They just want the quick bumper scuffs, in and out kind of jobs. Insurance work. A lot of people would seem to like where he's going, wanted insurance work.
Yeah. So how long have you been in business for then, do you say?
Oh God, I would say I'd say about 2 years. Yeah, I've been going about 2 years. Yeah, not long.
I'll come to you in a second, Sonny. So what do you want to do with your business then, Jason? Do you want to get bigger, or do you want to do more throughput, or do you want to just make more profit?
I want to get bigger, but not big.
Yeah.
I want bigger premises, but I want to be able to. What's the word I'm looking for now? I want to be able to.
Pick and choose your work basically, and just kind of cherry pick
basically choose me work, but I need bigger premises because that's only a small shop and it isn't viable to do because I'm doing everything. Like the one that I restored, the little Mark 1 Escort, I had to do everything, like suspension, brakes. I had to rebuild the engine myself. Everything was all done in the one shop. The welding, everything was done. So don't mind. I love doing all that kind of thing. Leave the paint and the bodywork, get into the engine, do that. That's great. But it's not ideal where I'm doing it. So I need to get bigger to get premises to pay for that, where I can have a separate bay. And if that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm just going to stop you there because I've come across it, Sonny, but things are, I'm trying to lead somewhere, which is why I'm asking you all the questions, by the way. I'm not going to go through a few of you. So what I'm doing is, in terms of, you need to look at how to get the work. So I want to go into about your marketing and how you present yourselves. Other things you can be doing as well is that if you're looking to kind of scale up and make your body shop bigger, funding's a large part of it. So that's not a problem, Blaine. So Blaine's just put there, I'm probably going to set the order here and say a mobile, no unit. That's actually not a bad thing, Blaine. In some ways, it's actually probably one of the better ways of doing it, because you've got the lowest operational cost and you can do more vehicles and in some ways make the most profit relative to your operational cost. So it's not a bad thing to do. I know quite a few people have been very successful doing smart repairs, working from a van. But it then depends on the problem you've got with that as well. Can I unmute? Yes, you can. There we go. Should be okay now, mate. Go on.
Yeah. go on. Yeah, sorry, carry on what you're saying. I was just
Yeah, so what you've got with it is that the problem you've got with smart repairs and working from your van on your own, and this is the same issue, is anybody who's, it's just you working in your business, this will affect all of you. Everything that's positive about your business is you. Everything that's negative about your business is you. So the problem of working for yourself and it just being your own business, and if you're working from your van, I'm guessing you are doing, is that everything to do with your business has to go through you. Now, the thing is, because everything's got to go through you, it stops you from getting bigger and scaling up, because you all of a sudden become the bottleneck in your business and it kills it. So the only way around that is charge more money to make more profit, and then it gives you a better lifestyle. But then it's finding that level that Jake was saying about, well, you know, how much do I charge and where do I find that level? And this is when I said about the Dunning-Kruger scale, where it comes into it, because it's, if you're absolutely the peak of what you do, you can charge whatever you want. Whereas if you're not, you're competing with other people doing the same as you, and that's why I need to differentiate with it.
Yeah. See what how I started is I used to have a business partner.
Yeah.
I won't say who because some of you might know him. And we worked together. We started about 5 years ago, and we started from scratch. I jumped in with him, but the business wasn't necessarily established. He had a couple of bits of work that he was doing, and we sort of built it up. And then we took somebody on full time about 4 years ago, and it just sort of grew, the business sort of grew and grew. We recently gone our separate ways, and I'm now on my own. Started about 3 weeks ago. But in terms of just what you mentioned there about sort of growing the business, I think the position I'm in now, because I've gone through a lot of personal stuff as well the last 12 or 15 months, I don't really think I'm interested anymore in making the big money and growing. Do you know what I mean? I probably want to just be comfortable with my life and be able to pay my son's football fees and go out on piss every now and then.
See, I think there's no problem with that. And what people, so if you look at my business model, it's just me working for me and that's it. There's nobody else there. And there's things where I can't really scale up doing Motorclaimguru stuff because everything that I do is me and it's through my head. So there's bits of what I do in the services I provide where I can outsource it to other people, but it is primarily me. Now, what's happened is that when I keep saying about this Dunning-Kruger scale, and it's having faith in your own abilities and your skills and the value of what you're worth, and you do all need to value what you do. When I first started off, the major issue I had was that there's nobody else out there doing it. And if nobody else is out there doing it, how do I charge for what I do? How do I know whether I'm cheap, I'm expensive or whatever? Well, I don't. And what I started doing was I thought, right, well, this is a reasonable amount of money for a service I provide to a customer, as an example. And I'd see at what point they stop using me. Now, the reason why I was going through all these questions, because I want to go into a bit of marketing with you, and what you need to be doing to get better customers in. But this is the thing that I found out. So what I basically did was that I'm quite good at marketing and certainly very good at social media marketing. And I started working out what did my best customer look like? And my best customer is the one who needs me. Simple as that. Because if they don't really need you, they can not really be bothered, then they won't pay you money. Somebody that's quite literally life and death will give you everything they've got just to have your services for them, and you can charge what you want. And that might sound a bit mercenary, but that's in effect the way the world works. But it also shows you the value of the worth, because if they employ you to sort their situation out and it benefits them, then you've been a value for money. So I'll give you an example. So if you say, for example, as a business coach, if I charged each one of you £1,000 for an hour, you'd all go, God, that's expensive. But if in what I taught you as a business coach at £1,000 earned you £10,000 for that 1 hour, then all of a sudden your £1,000 an hour is nothing into it because you made a profit out of it. So the same thing relates to whatever service you're doing. So if you, even though I appreciate you working from a van, there's still stuff you can be doing where you might be able to charge a lot more for your time for providing the identical service that you're providing, but it just depends on your clientele. So in your situation, I'd be looking at lease companies, stuff like that. So have you looked at that at all? Blaine?
I think he's on mute.
Try me again. Hang on. Keep asking to unmute. It's not doing it. I thought he was there then. Don't know what Zoom's playing up with. So you there, Blaine? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
man.
Did you hear what I said then?
Can you? Yeah. Sorry, I was muted myself again.
Yeah. So stuff like that. So things like what you could be doing is, because the only way, there's only two ways you'll ever make profit. One's by doing a greater volume of work. The other one's by charging more. Simple as that. So if you're selling a product, if you sell thousands of products, but you make a penny on each one of them, the more products you sell in volume, the more you'll earn. The other way of doing it is just charge more. And it's what's weird is it exponentially it grows faster. So like I said before, the difference between £80 and £40 an hour might not seem a big difference, but it's double. But what happens then is you start charging £150 an hour compared to £130 an hour. You wouldn't think it's a big difference, but over the end of a year, it's huge what you can do in terms of profit. So what you need to do is find the peak point, where the peak point is the point when people start turning away and don't use you, and then you wind it in a little bit. But if you then find somebody who really, really, really needs your services and wants them, they'll pay you whatever you want. So
yeah,
if it's something like a fleet company that needs loads of vehicles going through before they go to auction to get rid of them, then if they're on high-end cars, they'll pay you more money to get them mint, because they'll get a better return when they go through auction than what it'd do if it's a car that's £1 or £2 grand. So I'll be looking at like anything of high value vehicles, anything that's niche, any type of leasing companies, any type of fleet company. So I've done a training session on LinkedIn. So if any of you are not on LinkedIn, I suggest you get on it. It's the best tool you'll ever have.
See, I'm sorry, I don't mean to
Yeah.
rude. I started looking at LinkedIn just before I sort of jumped ship previously, and went on my own, and I couldn't figure out why people think it's so successful, and I couldn't figure out how to use it for me, if that makes sense. I was trying to, what was I trying to do? I was trying to like say find the bosses of big companies and like, sort of direct message them sort of thing, and I found that you have to have the sort of pro LinkedIn for example. You have to pay for this, or not. I thought I had to pay for this LinkedIn in order to get it to do what I needed it for. So I know I was doing it wrong, I get that, but I couldn't figure out what, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. So have you been on the Refinishers crew long?
No, Sonny invited me I think about a couple of months ago.
Right, okay. So last year I did a training session on LinkedIn, and it's about 2.5 hours long. And what started off as me asking something simple to help the crew out, and I thought it might be a 20-minute training session, ended up a lot larger. But LinkedIn's the best tool you'll ever have. So after we've done this session, if you put a post up on either, or I'll just stick a link on the crew for it with a link to the video, because I've recorded it and it's on YouTube. Now, when I first started telling about with people, so I don't pay for it, as an example, but the things you can do on LinkedIn if you know how to use it properly will just blow your mind, absolutely blow your mind. So certainly in terms of marketing yourself, but also finding people who can help you in what you're doing in your career, in terms of giving you business, stuff like that. It's amazing. So Rachel's smiling her head off because I've given tons of coaching in the past on how to use LinkedIn. So I'm going to unmute her because she'll tell you how powerful LinkedIn is. But also, so do you know Rachel, by the way?
I don't know, recognize.
Right, okay. So Rachel has become a bit of a media queen because she's very good at social media. And what's happened is that through using LinkedIn and other social media tools, she's got recognition off other people in the industry. And one of the things that anybody who works with me will tell you is that anytime you do any type of media in any way, once it works for you, you need to learn how to leverage it. And what you do is, if you're getting recognized in any way, you need to push that out there and get other people to recognize it, because they want to jump on your bandwagon. And every time it happens, you keep leveraging it. Every single time it makes you bigger and bigger. And basically, that's what's happened to Rachel. I'll just unmute Rachel. Sorry, Sonny, as well. I've not forgotten, and we'll come back to you. Right, I've unmuted you, Rach. Go on. So, Rach, go. So,
hi, Rachel.
Tell Blaine your experience of LinkedIn and what it was like after the training I gave you.
I mean, I thought it was a posh Facebook, is what I thought it was. And I said, no, thank you, because I am just an absolute workshop rat and I just didn't think I would, I'd fit in. But I've been on LinkedIn for, it was a year in October there, I think it was. And pretty much all my contracts now have come from LinkedIn. I ended up in Italy painting a super yacht because of LinkedIn, and I ended up at Red Bull F1 team because of LinkedIn. What else? Just basically everything and anything. What I done is I went on and I looked at companies that could benefit me, and you go for basically the highest that you physically can and send them a connection. Start liking their posts and stuff. You don't even need to message them. If as soon as you start interacting with their stuff, you're going to start coming up on their feed. And then using stuff like the algorithms to work for you. So if you put a post up and somebody comments on it, you wait until you get 2 or 3 comments on it and then reply to all of them at once. So then everybody on your connection list will get a notification that says people are reacting to Rachel's post. Click to see it. So then people think that it's a big deal, even though it's not.
What you've got as well with that is every person who's then posted on her post as well with a comment on it, their followers and readership also get sight of it. So I'm the same. I respond to every single person who puts a comment on stuff, even on different feeds. So there's things where I'll put a comment on LinkedIn and I can get 6,000 people view it and comment on it in about an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. It's crazy. Yeah. And what happens then is that it builds your profile up. But then, because then people want to be affiliated with you in some way, or talk to you, or see what, or find out what you do, it gives you a different client base. So it then means that you can start differentiating what you do in your normal day job and start cherry picking stuff. So then if you start finding quality work out of that, again, if you carry on replicating it, it then means you can start charging more for what you're doing. I'm just going to jump across to Sonny because he's been extremely patient, and he's gone that patient, he's gone black. I can't see him. You might need to turn your light on there, Sonny.
Oh, my light is on. It's just this rubbish laptop of mine. Actually, yeah, to just go off the back of the LinkedIn comments, I was the same, Blade. I just didn't see the point of it. I was on for a while, and an account that was pretty much dormant. And I don't use it anywhere near as much as it could do. Like Rachel is basically the LinkedIn queen, and it's opened massive doors for her. But I've used it for things like, there was an issue with a accident management company not paying a couple of members in our group. So I jumped on LinkedIn, got straight to the top, the senior director of the accident management company, and managed to get them paid pretty much straight away after that from just my contact, phoned them up as well, had a conversation with them. So it's amazing how it can open doors with whatever you want to use it for. But yeah, my hands up because I was just going off the back of the conversation with Jake and Tim about trade work. So I'm not sure what sort of money your trade work is bringing you, Jake, but mine was about 1/3 of retail work that I was charging. So I got to a point where I had a customer where they were spending 5 figures with me, so quite a lot of money. But I was busting the gut trying to serve them. It was 45-minute drive to pick up cars sometimes, and same journey back. So I was wasting a lot of time, and it was killing myself trying to earn a living from this trader. And he did spend a lot of money with me, but I made a brutal decision. And one day I just said to him, I think I'm gonna have to stop doing work for you because I can't carry on at these prices. So I cut my losses, which it was difficult, because it was he was the hand that fed. And so what I ended up was I was doing 1/3 of the work because it opened. Obviously, I stopped doing work for him, so I was doing 66% less work than I did do when I had him in my books. But then that gave me an opportunity to start doing a bit of marketing, which I believe Tim's saying he's just going to start talking about. But yeah, with that, basically now from the back of that, I work less for more money now. And, you know, when you're talking, you know, tens of thousands of pounds and turning it down, it was a massive leap of faith. But I'm glad I did it. I feel much better for it. I think
Gives you better quality of life, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because
that's what it was all about.
You got more time with your son,
Yeah,
basically, and you're in the same amount of money. And
Yeah.
that's the primary thing we run in a business as well. Work smart rather than work hard. So it always pays to work hard, but it pays a lot more to to work hard and work smarter. So again, if you can charge more for the same amount of money, but charge more for the same amount of work, what you're doing is you're buying yourself time. So whether that's time you want to spend working, doing more work, or whether it's time you want to spend with your family, you know, you want to position yourself in a situation where you're charged as much as what you can do, so that you've got. So I've just got a message from Kevin. He's trying to get in. Yeah, he's jumping in and out. It just gives you more time to do the stuff. So part of like things that I've done in the past, where my backstory. So anybody who doesn't know me, I was an insurance engineer, and I've basically been like a gamekeeper term, poacher, probably a polite way of putting it. And I never really understood what I was worth. And the thing is that, and the parallel to this is in terms of what you charge is a good example for it. So I was conditioned from being employed that I'd be earning about £15 an hour. So say 22 grand a year. And I was conditioned that I would probably only be able to maximum earn 30 grand a year. And I probably wouldn't earn more than that unless I took on board more qualifications or did other different things to kind of better myself in a job. And when you're being paid, when you're being paid a set amount of money, and you think about it as an hourly rate, anything over and above that rate seems a lot. So to go from £15 an hour to £20 an hour, you think, God, that's a big jump in money, that. And again, like from 20 to 45 and 45 to 80, they always seem big jumps. Now, what's weird is that when people don't know about your industry or what you do, they don't know what you charge. So, for example, with a retail customer, they don't know whether £40 an hour is reasonable or not, or £100 an hour is reasonable or not. All they know is they're coming for an estimate and you've said this is what it's going to cost. So what a lot of the repair industry does is they actually talk themselves out of profit, because they go, oh, I don't know about him, he might not have the money, so I'll do it a bit cheaper, so I'll get the job. Rather than just going, no, I'll just quote it. So going back against your operational costs and understanding what it costs you before you even start off, and then working out where your profit is. So stick your hand up if you've got a body shop and you've got an estimating tool. So any of you got an estimating system? So Debs has, Lee has, yeah, James has. So that's 3 out of all of you. Well, yours is a fag packet in it, Rob.
Better than mine.
So what you've got then is that this again is something I don't quite understand, whereas you've got a tool in place that's going to help you work out how much to charge, and then you don't buy it. Now, the thing is that people say, well, yeah, I don't do much insurance work, Tim. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter. If you've got a tool that allows you to calculate the cost of repair, and that is allowing you to not miss out on things, to make sure that you itemize all the stuff that's on your estimate, you can always convert it into an invoice, that you then fully costed a job correctly. Any work where you're not missing things off that invoice at the end of it is saving you money, and it's probably saving you more than the cost of the actual tool that you're using. So if any of you do, I've got your own body shop, I'd certainly be getting some type of estimating tool, because also you need to be making sure you're consistent in what you're doing all the time. And that's where it brings you. So Debs, from when you first started off, did you see any difference between not having an estimating tool and having one? I'll just unmute you because you're on mute again. driving me crackers. That's the mute. There we go. Are we on? Are we off? No, come on.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, we have actually never not had an estimating tool, because we started out with a larger network. So we had all this sort of stuff from the start. And then when we left the network, Dan actually built our own sort of bespoke one.
Yeah.
I'm actually a bit unclear though, if people don't have an estimating system, I mean, you have to store your customer details somewhere, you have to create invoices, you have to, you know, I don't quite understand how people manage to do all that without an estimating system.
I know, I'm the same. Beyond me, absolutely. It makes me brain spin. I'm like, how do they function? And I can guarantee probably most people write things down by hand and then they'll look at it and they'll say, if they're a smaller bodysshop especially. So back to front. I know you've got estimate solutions, but side down. Good job I can read it from a mirror, isn't it? So, but even with that, Rob, though, so there'll be stuff that you won't put through estimate solutions. So the work you're doing, I'll just unmute you actually. There we go. That's to unmute. Come on. Come on. Okay.
Yeah.
So the work you're doing though, so are you only using estimate solutions on jobs that go to insurance companies?
Tend to, yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because usually they're the most profitable to use estimate solutions for. Tend to find.
So what volume of work do you do to estimate solutions then? So of the 100% of the work that you do, what percentage do you use estimate solutions for?
Third, maybe 30%-ish.
Okay. So the 2/3 of the other work that you do, how would you cost them up?
It's a bit cheeky, but since using estimate solutions, I have a fair idea on the range of jobs and paint costs currently, because that gives you a fair idea on, you know, paint and materials costs for doing, say, a side of a car or the front end or whatever, various things. It also gives you all the Zone 99 charges in front of you that you can quote for.
Yeah.
So there's various things you can put on that way.
So
then, as you know, I reckon half of ours, 40% of ours is restoration stuff.
Yeah.
And that's literally billed at £60 an hour.
Yeah. So you're just charging, you just monitor your hours, you stick on it and then charge accordingly.
Yeah, we've got a whiteboard in the brew room and you put every hour down you spend on it every day, and that's what you charge on that job.
Yeah.
So that's a big bulk of our work. But some of the day-to-day stuff, yes, you do quote on a fag packet, as you like to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do in terms of your materials costs? Because I know you use different materials, don't you, depending on who the work's for, whether it be a restoration company or for.
Yeah, we can do, yeah.
Yeah, so how do you keep track of the cost of your products, and then how do you mark it up for your profit?
We get price lists, obviously, from quite a few of the suppliers. We sort of set a target when we started of around, for what we pay, charging retail on the high-end base coat, and then on the stuff that doesn't necessarily provide us with the retail cost, it just provides us with the cost to us, like some of the lower-end stuff. Trying to make 100% markup on all paint materials that we use. That's generally the guideline we use. We either use the price list as a retail or 100% on the other stuff, consumables and bits and pieces.
And do you know how much product you're going to use on each specific type of repair before you do it?
I've had more of an idea since we had the idea of putting everything in a bin. You know, the last 911 we stripped, it might have been the 944 we stripped, put all the DA discs and everything in a box. Just kept one box at the side of the job.
It's amazing, isn't it?
All the scotch, all the discs.
Amazing how much you use. Keep track of it.
So that doubled the materials cost on that, just on consumables on that job.
Yeah. So if any of you have never, again, been on one of my training courses, one thing I'd recommend you all do is get a trolley in your workshop with you. And then all the things that you normally do through your working day, stick in the boxes actually on the trolley, and then that way you're not going to and from a storeroom trying to get the bits that you need for it. And when also what you need to do is put a bag for the different products on the trolley as well. So everything that you've then used and you're throwing away, don't throw it in the bin, throw it in the bag, and then that way you can track what you're using through your day. Now, just from something as that then helps you that when you come to the point where you're actually billing for the invoice, you know what you've used. And like I said then, Rob, it's massively different, isn't it?
The other massive killer for us is nuts and bolts.
Oh, yeah.
Pull one to bits and
Fastenings.
put on just even like 8 milli, 10 milli self tappers and the black coated ones, especially, that cost a fortune. All the speed clips and riv certs and all that sort of stuff. It can easily be a couple of £100 on a job by the time you finish with all the clips and screws and stuff like that.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just thinking about who else I've not spoke to. So I'm sorry because I don't know. I've got your son's name, Mr. Trier. If I unmute you, so just to bring you in.
Yeah, it's Helen.
Helen, right? Thank you, Helen. So have you got your own body shop?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many people work in it? Is it yourself?
Me and my husband.
Right. Okay. And how long have you been in business for?
We've been doing mobile PDR for 12 years, and we've had a body shop for about 18 months.
Okay. I take it you moved from doing PDR to a body shop because you want to scale up what you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So have you situated your body shop somewhere local to where you are, or did you do any research to work out the best place for it? Or?
It's not by where we live because the people there are a bit tight. So we've gone to a different place on an industrial estate, right in the middle of an industrial estate, where there's lots of lease cars, lots of Mercs, lots of BMs, lots of Audis, like you were saying, all that business. Because I'll talk to anyone, so I've made friends with a lot of the businesses that are there, done a bit for them, so they recommend us to people who come into them. We've done a variety of different stuff. It's not just cars that we paint. I've just done a gyrocopter because nobody else wanted to do it because it was made of fiberglass. So we did a vehicle repair for somebody that's got an events business. He wants stuff painting to do with his business, bits of furniture and stuff. So we'll do all that. Like you were saying, it sets you aside from the others.
Yeah, differentiators are massive in terms of your business, because what happens then is that, because the bit I'm going to go into now as well is more to as well in terms of looking at how to plan your business, and you're looking at your premises and what you need, looking at what the customers are that you want to have. So the next logical step to that then is like, how do you get those customers? Well, having those differentiators of the services you provide. When you're first starting off, marketing is a really hard thing to do because you don't know who you're aiming at and what you want and what they're going to be willing to pay you. And a lot of people will go off word of mouth and say like, right, well, yeah, but I've had a customer recommend me, and then it's through that I've got some other work. And like I said, that can be a really positive thing, but it can also be a negative thing, because if you're doing really good work but you're cheap, then that's the only work that you'll attract. So out of all of you, stick your hand up if you've ever done any type of marketing. So 1, 2, 3. It's like asking Rachel if she done any type of marketing, like absolute.
I have, plain.
You know, it's just exclude Rachel from asking that question because she can get marketing queen. James, have you got a question?
Now.
Yeah, you've got it rocking now, mate. I tell you. I'll just have to unmute you. I'm just unmuted. There we go, James. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. So just wanted to add another thing. I'm a bit different to like you guys. I work for quite a large group of body shops. I say large, we've got 10 sites sort of across the Cambridgeshire and Nottinghamshire and Norwich area. Mainly use Audatex. That is my day-to-day role, running Audatex. I oversee a lot of estimates that run through the business. But a lot of you guys there saying that you don't use any sort of estimating system. There's a system we recently started using called Body Damage Quote. It's really simple. I think it's like £100 a month plus the VAT maybe. And it's just like a click and collect system. You just go on it and it comes up with a picture of the car. You put some basic details in. You draw a size of a dent or a scratch on a vehicle, and it comes up with a price at the end. And we've run about 50 jobs through this system so far in the past couple of weeks. And then we've run an Audatex alongside it, and it's coming out at a similar price. But obviously, as I'm sure some of you may know, Audatex is ridiculously expensive, whereas you could possibly try this system out here for around about, I think it's about £100 a month. It's definitely worth checking it out. But it might work out really well for some of you guys. Just something I thought put out there for you.
Yeah, that's a really good call, that, James. Thanks for that, because it's true. Hold on. What was that called again? It says from Rob already. It was called
Body damage
quote.
Yeah, BDQ is the shorter name for it. It's a lady who used to work for innovation, and then another guy who I think he was something to do with a program called Tractable. You might have heard of it, Tim. The AI estimating system. Yeah.
I've worked for them for 5 years. Yeah, I'm a lead consultant for them.
Yeah. So we met the guys who run Tractable a few years ago, and we were introduced to it, and then we avoided it like the plague. We did what we could to get away from it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going in the background, whereas it's mind-boggling, the stuff I'm working on at the moment. There's a lot of stuff I can't say because of NDAs and things, but
yeah, it's certainly something, you know, for some of you guys who are a lot smaller, it's going to be a lot cheaper than Outertex. It's got to be worth just looking them up and, you know, dropping an email, or I think even you can go on their website and it gives you an idea. It literally comes up with a picture of the car. It's got all Thatcham times on it. It calculates very similar paint and materials, uses an average Thatcham basket of paint and materials. It can be linked to Euro car parts as well. It's if you're purchasing parts to go on your repairs. I'm in no way affiliated with them. We're just having a go with the system because one of our work providers we're self-authorized for, and they're happy for us to use any sort of estimated system that we like, as long as it produces a respectable quote and an invoice at the end, and they're happy with our average repair cost, then, you know, we're happy to use it.
Yeah. And it's things like with Outertex, going back to where that came from, where it is now. That in itself is, for anybody who does any type of insurance work, you need to question yourself that why would an insurance company that funds the Thatcham research facility, that creates the times to actually tell you how long it takes to repair a vehicle, that they don't use the very company that they fund to then repair cars to create an estimate? They actually use a second, you know, completely different company through Solera as an estimating tool. The reason being was that when Outertex first came out, the times that used to come out of it, even though the manufacturer repair times, they're all based around production times. And what happened was Outertex used to actually give a tolerance within that, and it was quite generous like 20 years ago. And then as things have progressed, and at that time, a lot of insurance companies were using an early version of eScribe, basically. I used to actually use Thatcham books. In fact, actually, this is how far back I go. I used to use books like that. So I had tons of them. And even before that, there was I used to have Thatcham repair terms, and they used to have something that's called salmon books and green books and blue books. And it was literally a book, the cars with the times broken down into it. So, and that was like before we even had computerized estimating tools. And what surprises me is even if you don't use some type of estimating tool yourself, if you still get, because you can buy old books like that off the internet, and they still get generic times off and give you a fair idea if you couldn't afford to invest in it. But things like what you just said there, that body damage quote, James, looks really good, because like I said, anything that allows you to cost the job up basically just means you're not missing out on profit. And that's the primary thing. You need to make sure that you know where your profit is, and you know, so if you know what your operational, if you know what your operational costs are per week and per month, and you know how many jobs you're doing, it should give you a rough idea of knowing like how much profit's in it. And the better way of doing that as well is that you know what your actual break-even cost is per hour. If you've got an estimating tool, it just gives you that extra leverage as a very start, because you need to know what you're charging. Which is then when I look at some of the comments on the refinishers crew and people say how much do we charge for this, it just makes my head spin, because if you've got a business with high operational costs because they've got a lot of staff and a big building and everything else, then you can quite easily get yourself in a situation when the margins are that tight that you can go out of business really, really quickly. So the next thing I'm going to go into is in terms of marketing. So that's what I was saying to you is about how many of you have done any type of marketing. What you want to be doing is creating a brand for yourselves. So again, to things that differentiate you two. So I might bring Craig into this bit because I like your brand, Craig. Because again, Specky Painter is just a great differentiator, isn't it, compared to the people. So you're now recognised for who you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
So bring it up, mate. Go on. There you go. Oh, right.
Is that right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you. Go on.
Yeah, so I think there's a few people now that actually know me as Specky and not as anything else. They don't know who I am. They just know that, which I find a bit bizarre. But it's the main reason I'm on here tonight as well. I'm trying to launch a few products designed at our industry or a certain part of our industry, all under the brand of the Specky Painter.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm trying to push with this. And I'm trying to look at how I need to set it out. I want the right foundation for R&D before I even spend a penny of my money.
Yeah. It's the things what it's like, for example, what I do, and also, you know, Rachel's done really well with it as well, is that the key to successful marketing is you need to be doing it all the time. And you need to make it a habit. You need to make it something whereas you're doing it religiously. And you need to make it so people want to find out about you. Just won't be 2 ticks because we've got somebody putting the kids to the bed, so I'm just sending a message. We'll record to end. So part of what you want to be doing with that is that the primary part of whatever it is you're doing, the products you've got, is you need to make sure that whatever those products are, they're going to take it back to your website. So what you want to be doing is blogging from your website. I might bring Rachel back into this bit because I've done the analogy with her about sticking her hand up in a room, and she likes telling people about it every time, so I just embarrass her with it. But what you basically need to do is that if I tell you about my products, I can tell you about it once, but then I might forget about it. But the flip side of that is that you don't want to be telling everybody about your product all the time continually because you just bore people with it. But what you then want to do is that you need to kind of find that medium. But what you do is you tell people about your product, you demonstrate it, you put it out there and say to people, right, well, I'll give you a free example, and then you can give me feedback about what you think about it if you demonstrate it or whatever. But then you put it in the background on your website. But what you then do is you give other products and keep doing the same. And then also perhaps do blogs about what you do within your business, people you meet, things like that. But what you then want to do is that once you start putting loads and loads of content out onto your website, so the primary thing of the marketing side of it I'll talk about now is pretty much social media marketing rather than conventional advertising, radio and TV and things. But you need to create a brand. And when you create a brand, so literally, if I go anywhere now in our industry, everybody knows me as Motorclaimguru, and they'll come across me and talk to me and they'll see me in different media. But the thing is I kind of, this is when I initially told Rachel about how to do what to do, the reason why I knew it is because I did it myself. And you need to be everywhere all the time and do it over a long period of time. And then only then when you've been everywhere over a long period of time, you can start cutting it back then. What happens then is people miss you and they go, like, I've not seen that Tim Kelly for a while, what's he up to? And then when you do something, people jump on it straight away because they want to find out about what you're doing. So what you need to be doing, Craig, is something similar, whereas where you're at the moment now is going to be the hardest part completely. So you need to market the absolute living daylights out of it on whatever it is you're doing. And then the best way of doing it that is that the hub of whatever you do is your website. Everything comes from your website and that's your blog. But then what you want from there then is basically you want what's called an inverted funnel. If you give me 2 seconds, what I'll do, because I wasn't planning on that, but I will do something on it. See if I can find what I want. Is it on that bit? Yeah, there we go. I'll just zoom it in so you can see it. So what you want is basically an inverted funnel. And what you've got with an inverted funnel is that you're at the top there is the website, and then you're going through the funnel and it goes out. So the bottom of the funnel is your different social media. And the top of the funnel is you. So whatever you put out, you put down the funnel and share it through your social media. But it then means that the more social media you're doing it, that you're posting something from one place, but sharing it out to 4 or 5. But it also means then there's 4 or 5 different social media sites that you've done something that can find you. And what you want is for that to all divert back to your website. So what I was going to get into, Craig, was that if you've got different types of products, what you want to be doing is you want people to find your other products when they're not looking for them. And that's the key to it. So you market it like mad. You tell them how great things are and how it benefits them. When you start showing them a range of different things, you share it out through your social media and you keep banging the drum. But then what you also want as well is advocates of whatever it is you're doing. So if you find people who then say, I found this product and it's fantastic, then that'll then help them share your information. So active followers is a massive thing. So if you do things where you got somebody who just follows you for the sake of following you, it's great because they see you, but they might not do anything positive for you. If you've got an active follower, that's people who look at your content and share it with other people who might find it interesting. So what you need to do, the best way of benefiting that is that you want to basically give them content that makes them feel good about sharing it. So if you look at about what I do as a business, helping people with claims, people always like to make them feel good by recommending somebody to somebody else, so that the person who needs you most, they put you in connection with them. Now, because they help somebody else by putting them in connection with you, it makes them feel good and makes them just, you know, their friend thinks they're great. Oh, but I really like the fact that this person I know has helped me refer me on to that person, because if I didn't know that, it would have gone wrong, or, you know, I wouldn't have found out about it. So if you've got a product, the more people you've got acting as active followers who are passing your information to other people, and they might also then do the same, it then starts becoming cheap media. So that's one side of it. The flip side of it, of things you can do as well, is actually look for people in the industry who will benefit from whatever it is you've got. So things that I've done in the past. So a good example is, if any of you don't know me, I write for Body Shop magazine every month. Now, what I did was, if none of you know how media works, not just social media, any type of media, is that whatever platform of media you've got, so it's TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, they're all selling advertising space. So each and every one needs something that interests people enough for them to be involved in it, and then it's got the advertising space beside it that they earn their money from. So content is king. So what you've then got is that you've got all these different types of media, whether it be a newspaper or TV, and they need content. And what you've then got is a journalist sat somewhere who's going, well, if I've got content, I can sell that content to this media, TV, radio, whatever, I can earn money out of it. Now, once you click onto that bit of it, if you look at it from thinking like, right, I'll advertise in this magazine, it's going to cost me £1,000. You can either advertise in the magazine, it costs you £1,000, or what you can do is find a friendly journalist and go, I know that you need content for your magazine article or your media piece. Come down and see me. I'll tell you about what I do. I'll show you what products I've got. I'll show you what services I provide for it. I'll even paint your car or do whatever whatever you want, or use my guns or my equipment or my materials. Oh, that sounds really, really good, that, Craig. Yeah. And then they do a piece on you, and all of a sudden you've got 2 pages in a magazine, or you've got a piece on radio or something on TV. So then not only have you just saved yourself £1,000 by not spending money advertising in a place, you've actually got something in there for free, and they're now promoting you. So what you then do is you then share that information and go, look who's saying I'm great. Now, the thing that a lot of people in the UK aren't so great about is saying how great they are. Whereas in America, they don't give a shit. They just tell everybody they're great, whether they are great or not. Now, the thing is about being great is that the greater you are at something, people get attracted to you. And then that's how you become a celebrity. Because people go, I want to be affiliated with them because they're famous and they're great. And you think about some of the crap that's on TV and how people are supposedly famous just for being on TV when they're not. You know, how better is it if you are actually good at what you do, or you are beneficial, or you are offering a service? So a lot of the things that I do, because I'm helping people like to help other people in need. So that gets recommended. So then what happens then, and the things that I've done in the past, is that I will chase down journalists. So going back, Blaine, to about LinkedIn, this is where it's powerful. So things that I've done is I've looked at every single car magazine you can think of. I've looked at every single consumer journal you can think of, like Which magazine, or it could be different Citizen Advice, it could be different newspapers. I will look for different consumer journalists on LinkedIn. I'll find them, I'll befriend them, and I'll talk to them and chat away with them. And then all of a sudden, when they need a news article about something, it could be, you know, it could be related to cars, car repairs, insurance, whatever. They go, well, I need an expert to this. I know a person. I know a bloke called Tim Kelly. He knows about that. So all of a sudden, they start approaching you to help them. Well, the same thing for you, Craig, is that if you find people who need your products, find different industries that, you know, you can affiliate with, or different companies that you can find people who work in them, or industry magazines that will promote your services, or even not. Because a good example might be that if, for example, you found a custom car group or custom car magazine, if you've got somebody who's painted a vehicle using your products and they're going, well, the reason why this car looks so great is because I've used this product, then anybody else who wants their car to be as good as that car that's been featured will want somebody to paint it with your products. It might not seem related, but all of a sudden it'll start spreading around all the forums going, and it's then what then happens then is it makes the body shop who painted it feel good. So a good example is like Statgun, for example. Statgun worked really hard in the UK, and certainly really hard in America to sell their products and push it out there, showing the benefits for it. And then unless you've actually used one, you wouldn't know. Well, if you look at where they're into now with the different companies that they work with, so they work with like with Bentley, McLaren and other high-end manufacturers. Now people now know what it can do, and then you've got repairers actually using their products. It's created a secondary industry, whereas you know you're great because it's quite flattering when you've got competitors. Because if your product didn't work, people wouldn't replicate it, would it? So you got what they're doing, and they've been out for about 15 years, but then you've got other companies like Einstein in the background who are doing similar products. So the very fact that you've got somebody trying to copy what you do is kind of quite flattering. You just need to make sure that your products is better than theirs. So any questions of anybody so far? Stick your hand up if you've got one. Right, so task for you all after tonight, I want you to write down 5 things that differentiate you, and I won't say competitors because they're not, from your peers. So either by way of the products you provide, the services you provide, whether it's about the quality of the service you've got, whether it's about customer services. So do you give a better level of customer service? Are you faster? Are you cleaner? Are you more efficient? Do you do a better job? You know, do you market yourself on doing a shit job? Does that separate you? Because I'll guarantee you, if you do a shit job, people will find out about it much quicker than what you do if you do a good one. It's the weird thing about how marketing goes, because everybody likes to share bad news. Oh, I've got something to tell you. I've heard about such a thing that's happened to such a person, and it spreads like wildfire. And it's that weird thing about marketing, because that's still marketing, and it works very, very effectively because people like to share bad news about other people and bad products. So look at what separates you from your peers. So then, rather than being scared about what you can charge and what people might not pay, look at what services you provide that people will pay for, will pay over and above. So on the marketing side of it, what you put out there and how you represent yourself, and also how you display yourself. So going back to you, Sonny, in terms of what you're doing with your body shop, that's a massive thing. Because people will be a lot happier to pay more money in your body shop now it's clean, bright, sharp, looks mint, than how it looked before. Because people will go in there with a preconceived idea and going, yeah, it's not the best of places. You can be the best repairer on earth. You can do amazing work, absolutely fantastic. But if it don't look right, it doesn't instill confidence. And just that psychological perception of like, yeah, this place looks absolutely amazing. I can see why he charges as much as he does, because that's going to cost a fortune. That up there, look at the pipework up there. That's fantastic. Everything's mint. The floors are clean. It's been painted. You're like, so stuff like that. The perception you give makes people feel more comfortable giving you their money. And that's it. And the whole art of marketing is selling yourself. And I said, go on, Rob, yeah. All right, hang on. This is a pain in the backside, this unmuting thing. Go on.
It is indeed. Oh, on the thing about your perceived how good you are from when you walk in the door, I've never known whether to be complimented or insulted when you came and inspected that 911 for us and went, actually, it's a much better finish than I was expecting.
Yeah, only because you said it was bad and I was looking for defects on it.
No, so it's because I'm a perfectionist. You've dug your way out of that one.
Yeah, but then I walked around the other side of the car and actually, yeah, shit, you know. You can't say it wasn't shit on the other side. It wasn't your fault it was shit, but it was.
I was just gonna say, steady now.
Yeah. Well, I'm always easy on you. I don't give you any stick.
I know.
Yeah, I could give you a lot worse than what I do. But it's only because I want you to pay at my portion instead, though. And I want you to pay my portion for nothing as well, because you know you've got really cheap labour rates and you're good.
Yeah. On that note.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to ask Sonny to do it, but he's too expensive. Well, there we go. So yeah, so what you've got with marketing is that one of the best pieces of marketing I've ever seen was Stella Artois, and their tagline was reassuringly expensive. So the way they differentiated themselves in the marketplace was actually not by saying, yeah, you can go out and buy something cheap. They're saying you need to buy our product, and actually, yeah, it's reassuringly expensive. So the reason why you ban it is because you know it's going to be good, because you've got that mental thing in your head by going, just because something's expensive, it's got to be good. Now, there's another bit of psychology, whereas people feel guilty in thinking that if you bought something that was really, really expensive, and then you had to justify it to your partner, and then you found out the really, really expensive thing that you bought wasn't good, would you admit it?
No. Not
So it's like thinking, Debs, all those shoes that you've got that you might have spent a fortune and not told your husband about, would you admit that you've never worn? Look at Jeff's face. Would you admit you've never worn them because actually they're uncomfortable? You can't wear them. I'll unmute you because hang on. Come on, unmute.
Yeah, I don't have shoes. I have like 4 pairs.
Get out of it. Is that your 4 pairs, or is that just the 4 pairs that you've told him about, not the other 100 pairs you've got in your wardrobe?
I don't need to tell him about things. If he wants money, he comes and asks me for it. If he wants to go buy things.
I know, but see, what I like there as well, you've just done a beautiful diversion technique to take me away from the fact you probably spent a fortune on shoes, but he doesn't know about them. This is the identical thing that men do about cars and car parts, whereas we don't tell our partners how much they cost. But the point I'm kind of making is that if something was cheap and it was crap, you tell everybody, well, I bought that and it's crap. But if you spent an absolute fortune on something to be done, and it doesn't quite, it's still all right, but it doesn't quite meet your expectations, it's highly unlikely you're going to tell other people that it wasn't as great as you thought it was, because you'd be too embarrassed to say I spent a fortune buying something.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing. So again, it's part of how consumers behave. So having an understanding of consumer behavior is a massive thing about marketing as well. So whereas it actually makes less sense to price yourself cheap and more sense to price yourself as being more expensive, because the likelihood of people complaining about your service is less. And then the ones who are happy about what you do will, again, be a lot greater advocates to, you know, sell your services because you're expensive. So you're like, because then they're kind of bragging about it. So any of you do classic car restorations. So Jason, you said about what you do. If you charge a lot of money, but you're doing a mint job for it, the people who spent 200 grand doing a car with you will go, look at my car, I've spent 200 grand on it, and you can see it, can't you? Then all of a sudden you get more people spending the same money. So you can actually get to a point where you end up doing less work for more money because people are willing to pay you more money. So again, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but I know Rob knows them, but have I took you to the repairers in my village, Sonny? I can't remember. I'll take you down. I'll take you off mute. God, this is a pain. This is. Come on, on mute. There we go. So have I took you down?
Is it specialist services?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I've not been down yet. I'd like to go down and see his.
Yeah, I'll take you down and introduce you.
Yeah.
Now, this is where you've got a business that has done it right and knows what they're doing. So they do virtually hardly any insurance work whatsoever. They're primarily classic car restoration, but they've also got a mechanical workshop aside from a vehicle restoration side of it and a paint side of it. They diversify the type of work that they do. Like I said, he was even painting window frames the other day. And the reason why he was doing it was because he just went, it's interesting, something different. You know, I spend all my life kind of doing classic car restorations. He's got about 10 people work for him. But he's, how can I phrase it politely? I provide a service which benefits him, because what I do is I do specialist car valuations. And what I do that benefits him is that the people who go to him to have their cars restored, they need to basically get them insured afterwards. So if somebody invests the best part of £200,000 into a classic car restoration, but in the normal world that car might be worth 100 grand, it can be quite hard to insure. So they use my services to do an engineer's report, and I'll detail the work that's been done for it, and it helps them get insured. Now, when I compare the work that they do compared to other companies and then what they charge for it, they do exactly what they say they're going to do, but they do charge for it. Whereas some restorations I've seen have been absolutely atrocious and not great. And, you know, they're just basically, they look a pretty car, but they've not been done right. But they've now got that reputation, whereas one of their customers recently sent over 6 Mark 10 Jags from America for them to do. So they've got work coming out their ears, and the labour rate isn't cheap. They're not as expensive as what they could be, but they're really busy. But what he's done is he's created a brand, and he's differentiated his services away from other businesses and what he does, so he makes his profit. And that's why I keep banging down the same thing. You need to do the same thing. You need to differentiate. But again, when I look at his costings and what he does, I once saw him do an insurance job. I'll give it a little side note as a tangent. And what I thought was funny was he actually did it on an Excel spreadsheet. One of the most comical things you've got in the insurance industry is that you've got insurance engineers using order text, but they don't know how to do a fag packet estimate. So if you actually get an engineer away from an estimating tool like order text or anything else, they don't know how to create their own opinion times. So when he actually then started breaking down the cost of repair, going, well, all right, you're an engineer, you know what you're doing, don't you? Well, you do, obviously you're an engineer, don't you? So let's look at how much time it takes to remove and refit this panel. Then, so how much time would you think it would take to paint it then? And what he basically made this engineer do was give his own opinion times on each specific part of doing that job. And what made it even more awkward for this specific engineer was that it was an older car and it wasn't on order text. So he might have found it on Thatcham a long time ago. And he went through his spreadsheet and he went, so there's nothing really there that you don't agree with then. And the engineer couldn't really say no because he agreed with it all. And yet when he tried to do basically a comparative type of report on order text, he was miles off. He's about 40 hours out on it. So things like that where, again, if you've not got an estimating tool or you're not using something like that body damage one, create your own, just get a spreadsheet and then just go through it line by line on each individual bit of it. So when people say, how much would you charge for this? Knowing your operational cost of your business, knowing your break-even point, and then thinking like, right, what element of profit do I need on it? Right, well, I know then I should be charging that amount per hour for what I've got because of the operational cost, and then create a line-by-line estimate on what you're doing, and then come to a total figure on it, and then work out your materials on it. Something as simple as that. But going back to marketing, like I said, what you can do is you can leverage a lot of what you're doing. Use LinkedIn as a tool because it's powerful. But what you want to do is find people who will help promote you, but they'll promote you for free. And then if you get something in some type of media, and like I said, Sonny was taking the mickey out of me because it's literally my thing, just leverage the absolute living daylights out of it. So anything you do, get people to share it, because what happens then is somebody else might see it and might want something from you as well. Any questions anywhere? Did I answer your question, by the way, Craig?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? Right, so what I'll do now, do you all feel I've covered what I said I'd cover?
Yeah.
Put your hand up if you do.
Definitely.
No? Yeah. I'm trying to keep it kind of brief as well, because it's kind of, there's so much you can do, and I've actually got tons of stuff I was going to pop up and share, just in terms of like when Sonny said about the spreadsheets and stuff, because they're beneficial, but they are actually on the refinishes files on it on Facebook, so go into them. If you actually go onto that file section, I think I've uploaded something like 80 odd different files and folders on there as well, for stuff that's all on there that you can benefit you for free. Doing your research though is a major thing. Start knowing your figures, knowing your business, knowing your profit. You need to be doing now, because like I said, there's going to be price hikes on absolutely everything. Your operational costs are going to go up, gas is going up like crazy. It's going to affect you all massively, but the thing is that you're currently all charging what you now charge based on what you were charging last month. But the gas that you're now using now, you're not going to get charged for till next month, which then means that all the work that you're doing now, you're going to be doing it for less money. So all of you, if you're doing work this month, you need to be in front of the game and not behind it, because it means that every single job you're doing this month, you're losing money on. And if anything, what you might still be doing is actually causing, you're going to be losing money on every job you're going to do. But what's going to happen is over the next 18 months, that's going to go through all of the next 18 months to 2 years. That's going to continue all the time, because you'll see price hikes and everything. I was talking to Jordan Salt the other week about his raw materials cost for the paint he's making. And he's seen something like a 2 to 3 times rise in just bulk material costs. So ultimately, for the stuff that he's using, it's going to then end up that the actual product at the end of it's going to go up in cost, which then by the time he then puts his profit into it, means the end supplier like yourselves, it's going to cost them more. But by the time it then gets to you, then you put your profit on the end of it to make a profit on to the consumer. That job you just costed 6 months ago for 3 grand is suddenly 5 grand with no change. But the thing is, whilst that's gone on, you've not increased your labour rate to take into consideration those uprise of cost either. So you might have, your paint materials cost has gone up. You made your profit on that, but your own personal labour cost you've not increased to make sure you got your profit on it. So you need to make sure as well that the thing that I didn't cover tonight as well is that one of the prime reasons why you're doing this as well is that you don't just need to make profit for a better lifestyle. You need to be based at making profit and using at least 20% of that profit to reinvest in your business. So if you're not doing that now, do it. And you might think that's a shitload of money to invest in your business. It's not, it's nothing. Because if you put 10% of that, 20% of that profit, so just say, for example, you earn £1,000. So you take out 200 quid as profit, out separate from everything else, just 200 quid to put back in the business. You could put £100 of that into advertising and marketing that might generate another £1,000 of profit. So every bit of profit you take out of it and reinvest it in your business, you could then actually think, well, it worked that well last month. Rather than put £100 into it, I'll put £200 into it. So then that £200 advertising could actually generate 2 grand of profit. So every month, if you're not taking money out of the business to put it back in the business, you'll stand still. But the danger you've got is at the moment is that you can't afford to even stand still, because you won't be standing still, you'll be going backwards. And then what will start happening then is that you'll make less profit, you'll end up with cash flow issues, and you'll be bust in 2 years. So you need to be absolutely on your game, working out what's going to be going on in the future and planning for it, and being totally on your figures and knowing your numbers. So, and it makes me sound like, like the Grim Reaper, I'm going to kill off the industry, but I can see it coming. And it really is that bad. And it's a lot of the larger groups. I'll give you an example. I won't say the name of them. I might make Rachel laugh in the next bit when I say, it's the person I upset at the Body Shop Awards, Rachel. And their business model is now flawed because of what's going on. So this network that they have, they're now losing body shops in their network because they can't work under the contract they've got. The contract they've got is for the next 12 months and they've just refreshed it. So what's happening then is these repairers that were all working for these contracts on poor amounts of labour, because the insurance companies can't afford to lose them because there's a real capacity shortage in the industry and there's not enough repairers out there to repair cars. So this again is, people go, well, I'm scared of losing work. It's like there's literally an abundance of work at the moment. The actual backlog of vehicles out there that need repairing it's phenomenal. So again, if ever there's a time to increase your labour rates, it's definitely now, without a doubt. And I now know of 2 different body shops that are prestige, and they're actually companies that I do work for as a consultant. Each one has been approached by 2 different prime insurance companies, and one has put an extra £20 an hour over and above what they were getting through this network, and the other one's got 30. So the insurance companies at the moment now really realise that there's a real capacity crunch coming in, there's not going to be enough repairers out there, and they're trying to secure capacity and they're willing to pay it. So they've gone from like, right, we know we can get it done at £30 an hour on this contract, to, oh shit, we can't, so I'll give them £60 an hour. These insurance companies are not bothered in the slightest. They're like, yeah, we'll do that. We can't afford to lose you as a repairer, you do too much work for us. Or there's other repairers in the area, but they aren't as good as you. We know that if we send work your direction, we won't get any complaints. We can just give it and crack on with it. Whereas we know with that repairer, because we're paying them a crap rate, we need to audit everything they do. The thing is, what you've got with insurance companies now is they've got no engineers. They've outsourced it all. So all of a sudden, from having a business model where they outsourced all their engineering services and claim services to an external company, now the repairers don't want to work with that external company. It needs to go back in-house, but the insurance companies haven't got the resource to service it. So the insurance companies are just going like, we really need you, we'll give you anything you want. So the tables are actually starting to turn in the industry now, whereas body shops have got real power. They're actually, in the next, like I said, the next 18 months is going to be a real crux point for the industry. And if the repairers can survive it, there's a real potential there to massive amounts of profit from insurance companies, because insurance companies just need them more than anything else. But what's happening in the background is that they know that, they're already planning for it, and you've got the likes of companies like Solus that are creating their own repair shops, and then also offering their services to different insurance companies because they know the capacity crunch is coming. But if you do your marketing right and you find your right business, there's massive potential for profit. You just need to make sure you know your figures. So on that bit, oh, go on, Debs.
Yeah, I just want to ask, I know how you feel about insurance companies, but how do you feel about like work providers and accident management companies, like doing work for them? Are they as bad as insurance companies, or are they worse?
What it is it's not that I don't like insurance companies per se. What I don't like is crap contracts. It's as simple as that. So any company that offers a crap contract, I won't want to work with. So things like, how would I define a crap contract? So things that cost you money to service them. So if you've got a body shop where you're working with an insurance company and they want you to provide 24 hours recovery, then all of a sudden you need a recovery wagon and you need a driver and you need to cover a lot of area. And then we've got fuel prices going up and you've got that inherent cost there. So that's one side of it. Things where they want you to provide courtesy cars for free. They want you to provide 60 days of free credit, whereas, 30 is more than you should be affording. So again, issues that affected body shops at the moment is that you've got so much work outstanding that you've got parts in order, you haven't prepaid for your parts, then all of a sudden you've not got a vehicle in yet, but you pay for the parts on it. So by the time you would get paid for it, by the time you repaired it, you're 6 months down the line and it's killing your cash flow. Now, if I've got a contract with an insurance company that's making me do that, that's not somebody I want to partner with. So that's kind of, like I said, it's not that I don't like insurance companies per se, it's because of that. So to answer your question about accident management companies, what you've then got is you've got 2 different sides of it. You've got accident management companies who operate under something called the ABI GTA. So the ABI GTA is the Association of British Insurers General Terms Agreement. And what that is basically, I won't shaft you if you won't shaft me. What happens with that, though, is that they get paid quicker. So by knowing they're not going to shaft each other, it means that they get paid quicker and you get paid quicker as a repairer. But what you've got with that then is that they don't want to overcharge on the rates. So it means you're not going to earn pots of money out of it, but you'll earn a reasonable amount of money on it, but you'll get paid quicker. The other type of company is ones that aren't ABI GTA, but they're a credit hire company. And what it means is that fundamentally they need to sue the other party. Now, what you've got with that is that there's a specific piece of case law that set precedent in 2013 called Coles versus Everton, and it outlined the entitlement of a consumer in a non-fault claim. So it comes under what's called the law of tort. So tort is a civil wrong. So under this civil wrong, the consumer is entitled to retail cost of repair. So this is then when you'll see asset management companies saying we can afford to pay £60 an hour, but then we want a 20% rebate. Now, the reason why they're doing that is that they know in law you can claim back whatever labour rate you want. And it could be £60 an hour, £80 an hour, as long as it's what's deemed to be reasonable in court. But you can't be seen to be carrying out fraud. So you can't say, well, I'll do it at £40 an hour and you charge £60 an hour, because then the max is being fraud. But the whole reason why this case came about in 2013 was because that was exactly what Rolson Alliance was doing to other insurance companies. So they were getting cars repaired in their network at £35 an hour and then charging £65 an hour. And the only reason why it became a contentious issue was because of the VAT amounts. Because the VAT amounts were different from what they were charging in-house compared to out external. So that's then why you'll have these asset management companies saying, right, well, we'll pay you £65 an hour, but we want a rebate. So again, would I work with them? Yes, I would, and I do. So I work with one company called Auto Logistics Solutions, who I think are great to do a lot of work with them. I'm not just saying that
we had
because
them in last week or so. Actually, we had someone come in to speak to us from that one.
Yeah, so it's I personally like it because of I wouldn't work with them if I didn't. And what they're good at is cash flow. They understand that you're putting money out and you need to get back in again. What I'd be looking for with any company that I contracted with, so again, whether it be through the ABI, GTA ones that are doing credit hire, or ones that are outside of that, is that I'd be looking at their payment terms, because anything longer than 30 days is too long, simply. I'd be saying I want payment today, no credit whatsoever. So any credit hire company that's doing that, great. Any asset management company doing that, great. Any insurance company doing that, great. But anything longer than that, nah. Because there's contracts out there. You could be working with a lease company or fleet companies that pay you when you invoice them straight away. So it's like, you know, any type of business, like I said, look at what's the best type of business you've got, and then look at what's not so great and what's a bit poor, and then what's crap. What you want to do is keep replicating the best ones and push out the crap ones. And it actually doesn't matter who they are, whether an insurance company or an asset management company. To me, is it a good contract or a bad contract? It's as simple as that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because we had one. There's apparently one that's now partnered with Embra. Because I had a phone call from Embra today saying, you know, we want to send this job your way, and then we got the email from the company, and their labour rate was like 30 quid an hour.
You can repair my Porsche if you want. But it's all right because everybody keeps changing around the screen. There he is. He's Rob down here now. Rob's going to do it for £15 an hour for me. Give me a mint job out of it. I'll keep trying, Rob. I'll keep chipping away. See, the thing is, you can tell Rob's doing all right. We've seen his kitchen, how nice it is. He's making way too much profit. So he can clearly repair my car for not an awful lot of money. Dan, you've got a question. I'll unmute you if I can do.
Yeah, there we go. You can hear me now.
Right, well, mate, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the one thing that I struggle with mainly, and you sort of stopped on it briefly earlier on, was knowing how much to price yourself compared to your competitors.
Yeah.
How would you go about finding out what your competitors charge? Because that's the one thing I've always struggled with. Unless somebody tells you what they're charging, how would you?
Yeah, so you misunderstood what I've said. So what I've said is, so you check out what your competitors are doing, not necessarily what they're charging. So find out what they do and find out what services they provide, and then differentiate yourself away from them.
Right.
So in terms of competition around what you charge, not interested in what your competitors charge at all.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get you now.
Yeah, so that's the two different things. So when you do your research, find out what people do, what services they provide.
Yeah.
And then if there's a load of people doing the same thing, don't do the same as them. If it's just you and somebody else, it might be that you can do the same thing, but you provide a better quality service. Basically, so you do that with it. But in terms of what you charge, fundamentally, it's your business. It's as easy as that. You decide how you run your business, and you decide how much you charge for it. And I wouldn't let anybody dictate to me outside my business what I charge people. That's something I find bizarre about the insurance industry and vehicle repairers, because it's the only industry I know where the person buying the product tells you how much they're willing to pay you. It's crazy. It's like going into, Michelin star quality restaurant and saying like, right, I want the best steak you've got, and give me an absolutely beautiful fillet and dauphinoise potatoes, and I want organic veg with a beautiful wine jus on the side of it. And then you go, yeah, but I want to pay the same as Big Mac, cheese and fries. It's still beef, still potatoes, but it's still cheese on the end of it. It's exactly the same product you've got fundamentally in its base core products, but one's £4 and the other one's 150.
Yeah.
And it's like, so this is what I find weird with the insurance industry. Are you off, Rob? Are you saying you've got a question? Yeah, he's got a question. Hang on.
Not a question. We just had exactly that 3 days ago with a customer who said, if you can do it for 300 quid, you can have the job. And I'm not particularly interested. They're booked up for 6 weeks, so it's not. If you can do it for that, you can have the job. It just made me laugh. It really did.
Yeah. Was he? I was just going to say something.
Like they're doing me a favour.
Yeah. You can. I was going to come out with something then, but it might be seen as being a stereotype, and it might have got banned on YouTube if I said it. So I had to rein myself back in before I said something. But yeah, there's certain characters that will say the same type of thing, and it just makes me laugh, because you got to go, yeah, no. I had somebody say to me the other day on something. So one of the things I get most is, do I do something on a commission-based end result? So do I do it on a no-win, no-fee basis, basically, is what they were saying. And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, what do you mean, no? I said, well, I need to do the same amount of work, irrespective as to whether I win or lose. It doesn't change anything. I still got to put the same amount of time into it, and it's still my time, and that time is valuable. So I charge my time. I don't do it for free. Well, do you not think you're going to win? I said, well, it's not a matter of whether I win or lose for it, but if you've got something whereas basically you've already lost before I even get involved, I'm there to try and help as much as I can to try and maximize the potential success of you being something winning. Doesn't mean I'm going to win though, because if they still say no, they'll say no. But if you don't know, if you don't try, you don't know. And the only way you'll find out is if I do it. So if I'm going to do it, you need to pay me. Simple as that. And they got really upset. Well, I can't believe you won't do it. I know when fee. Well, if we win, I'll give you 50% of it. I said, I'd rather have 100% of something than 50% of nothing. And it's like, and it's as crazy as that. I'm like, no, I don't work for free. I value my time. So again, so right from the very start, I keep saying to you, you need to value the time, because if you don't, other people won't either. And the bizarre thing is that if you don't value your time accordingly, so going back to what you said then, Dan, about how do you find out what to charge and what your costs are for it, get to the point when people walk away. That's when your value is. So if you do a crap job, but you charge crap money, people will accept it and they might complain. But if you charge a massive amount of money for it, for a crap job, they'll definitely walk away and they'll never come back. If you do an absolutely great job and charge reasonable money, so this is that Dunning-Kruger scale, you then cover in the bottom of that bit. people will go, he's great, actually. No, he's really good. And that's the word of mouth that's kind of got to be careful of, because it's a good thing and a negative thing at the same time, because then you get known for doing good work cheaply. And then all of a sudden you're inundated with loads of good work that, you know, everyone's done cheap. Which is why I keep going to say I'm going to go get me, you know, I know people who do mint jobs and don't charge an awful lot like Rob. So why I keep chipping away at him.
Prices have gone up since you came. You're talking too late.
There you go. And that's it. But the thing is, though, now it's like the classic car restoration stuff you do now. You're known for the quality of work you do, don't you? Because you are OCD.
Yeah.
And the thing is, then, is that when you said about the estimating side of it, what type of work you do, the reason why you don't get much insurance working is because you don't need it, because you do quality work with the restoration stuff. So that's kind of why I keep pushing on the same thing. The way the business model is being used in the repair industry at the moment, 90% of the body shops have got it wrong because they're focused on their own marketplace. And what makes me laugh even more is when you've got these same body shops going like, how do I get insurance contracts? Because that's what I really, really want. I'm like, you're saying that because you just started up in the industry. And the reason why you really, really want them is because you don't actually realise how bad they are. Everybody at the other end of the actual kind of 20-year cycle have gone, I've been there, I don't want to be doing that, and I'm off. Any other questions?
Just to reflect on Dan's comments. A few years back, I made a conscious decision to completely blank out what my competitors charge. And psychologically, that's made it a lot easier for me. So I literally do not care what my local body shops charge. They charge what they like. I've no interest in what they charge. I just charge what I feel that I need to charge for a repair. And and it's just makes life easier. And so I set the prices. If they want a cheap job, I'll send them to the other body shops, you know, I'll point them in the direction. I literally point them in the directions that they can walk in to find a cheaper job. So at least I don't look like a arrogant. And that way I help them get a cheap job, and then I turn away the bad customers that I don't want. So yeah.
See, the other side of that is, to what you touched on there, it's quite important, is that when you've got customers who cause you friction, they spend time driving your crackers. And that time that you're using, that they're driving your crackers, is time that you could be using to be productive that earns you profit.
Yeah, so I literally go straight in. If I feel like they want a cheap job, I just go straight in. Says, you want a cheap job, you know, you can go to him down the road, or them up the road, or them round the corner, and then I'll just crack on with something important.
I've just seen something then. So Lee, did I just spy a nice camper in the background of your phone there, mate? Lee? You can't hear us. I'll tell you what, how long a hallway is that? Must be a huge body shop or a big office. So Lee, did I just spy a camper van in the back of your video then? Did I just spy a nice video of you camper?
Oh, it's typing.
It's typing. I can't see. I can't see that, Lee. I don't know what I've got there. Hang on. No, it's not come up, Lee. Go on. I'll try and unmute you. I just saw a nice camper in the background of your video when you're walking around. I thought it was a Type 49. Or is that your own personal garage?
Well, the suspense is killing me now.
I know. See, there's nothing better than walking around somebody else's garage, is there? You always spy stuff on the shelves and you think, I don't mind some of that.
Yeah, there's nothing in mine.
And how's Mr. Layton?
Yeah, good.
Man of many words. Right, and what about you, Jake?
Me?
Yeah, go on. You got any questions? Anything else you want to learn? Anything like to ask?
Yeah, loads, but nothing's come to mind.
So yeah, planning's a big thing with it, without a doubt. But it's like knowing what you're going to charge. I put some on the refinishes crew the other week, and when I started tape before, within what we've been doing tonight, I said like how you can limit yourself and what you charge and what I used to get pay as a direct line engineer, and thinking of it getting paid like £15 an hour. If I knew then what I charge out now, I would have just gone, no way on God's earth will ever anybody pay me that amount of money. And what's bizarre with it is that I provide consultancy services to a company called the Gerson Lehman Group, and what they do is they want experts in certain fields who've got pockets of knowledge that is very valuable to investors in the banking markets, in the insurance markets, and other things as well. They want experts in anything basically, but it's just happen to be the expert in motor insurance in the UK. And all the time it says to you, this is the kind of like the rate you charge. If you're charging more than this, it's highly unlikely you're going to get more work, because there's other consultants out there that charge less. And I'm like, no, there isn't. There's only me who does it, so there can't be. So all the time they keep saying you're charging too much, and all the time I keep putting down. So I put it down for $350 an hour is my consultancy fee for it. And you go in like, right, so I've gone from £15 an hour to £300 an hour. They're never, ever going to pay me £300 an hour. And what's bizarre is that when somebody wants what product you've got or service you've got, if it benefits you, then they'll pay you. And the thing that makes me, because like I say, it's imposter syndrome, because you think it'll never happen to you. What strikes me as being the most bizarre thing about it is because they're like big banking organizations and they're looking at investments and things like that, or it might be other investment companies. 300 quid for an hour of my time is nothing if it's a multi-million-pound job. So where we might look at that and go, that's an awful lot of money for an hour's time, to them it's nothing. The same thing applies in our industry. If you don't value your time, they won't. But the weirdest thing is that when you suddenly value your time over and above everybody else's, people accept it and go, well, we all know he charges that, but he does a great job. He does, well, actually, no, he does an amazing job, so he's worth it. And if people want that, they'll pay it. So value your time and don't be scared to ask for it. Because the other side of it as well is that, say, for example, you're charging £30 an hour. If you only ever ask for £30 an hour, that's all you'll ever get. So double it, triple it, you know. Find the point when people say no and charge just slightly underneath it, and then they'll pay you. Because I guarantee if you do that, you'll have a lot more money than what you will do if you just keep charging what you charge. You all right, James? Cool. Lee, can you still hear us? You're gonna mute yourself now, mate. I'll unmute you. Hang on. Try to mute. This is a pain in the ass, this thing, muting. Hang on. Come on. We got it. Come on. Are you muted now? No. What a pain. So, well, Russ. We're not touched on Russ tonight. Has it been that bad a day in a dark room to recover? There we go. I've just unmuted you. There we go. Go on.
Oh yeah. There we are.
So, have you got any questions? Anything you'd like to know? I've covered what you wanted to.
No. I mean, the one thing I've always struggled with is obviously pricing per hour, because I price my jobs. I look at the job and I think it's going to take me this long to do that. How much money do I need out of it, basically? And sometimes that's worked out really good for me, and other times it's bitten me in the ass really bad.
So what you're telling me is, depending on what day of the week it is, and who I am, you might price that job differently.
Yeah, which I think is where that BDQ is going to come in really handy.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, you need to be consistent. But the thing is that what are you going to do if you know your rent goes up?
Yeah, I mean my biggest flaw is I feel sorry for people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm that classic person who'll think I've got 500 quid in my head, and then they'll sort like give me the sub story of how it happened, and then I'm like, oh, I'll do it for 300 quid then.
So have you got a family? Have you got kids?
Yes.
Okay. So I had somebody give me a lot of criticism for doing this because I made an analogy about Sonny, but every time somebody's doing that, they're taking toys away from your kid.
Yeah.
They're taking holidays away from your kid. They're taking, now the most important thing out of any of it is anytime somebody does that to you, they're taking time away from your kids, away from their father.
Yeah.
Because the less money that you make, the more time at work you need to spend.
Yeah.
That's more time away from your children and your family.
Yeah.
So
Also, we're not selling bread. You know, if people can't afford it, it's not that they're going to starve. It's just that they won't get their car fixed. It still drives them to work. It still goes everywhere. If they can't afford to get it done, don't get it done. It's not, you know, if you can't afford to do it, we're not causing anyone hardship by not repairing the outer bodywork of someone's car.
Yeah, it's I had that classic fear of if I quote too high for that job, they go elsewhere. That job don't come to me.
So what?
They're not.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, but what you're telling me there is you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
So what you've got is you're concerned about losing work.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is you don't do any marketing.
No, I don't.
You're waiting for somebody to walk through the door, come in and go, I want you to do this job.
Yeah.
So what you do, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I've got one employee and I was chatting to him today and I go to work and do my job. Yeah, I am that classic.
Do you know what stands out there?
Floor.
So there's one thing that just stood out massively there, completely. I go to work and I do my job.
Yep.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You go to work and you should be working on your business, not going to work to do a job. Because the thing is, if you go to work and do your job, you've got nobody managing your business. So your job isn't to go to work. Your job is to build your business.
Yeah.
Whilst you're building your business, you do your job. But the thing is, what you've got is when you start your company, what you do repairing cars is only one of your jobs. You also need to be the accountant, you need to be the marketing expert, you need to be the business development manager, you need to be the panel beater, the painter, the estimator. So the issue you've got at the moment is you're only focusing on one of the jobs that you've got.
Yeah.
And you need to focus on, and the thing is, anything other than business manager, director is irrelevant because you need to manage your business first. Then you need to look at the other things that you're doing. Because the thing is, well, is that because you're not looking at your business and looking at the marketing side of it, is that you're waiting for people to walk into your business, but not making profit. So what you've actually got is you've got an expensive hobby because you like repairing cars and you like chatting to people. But the thing is, that doesn't give you a quality of life. You can, you know, you could get a job for somebody else and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So what you've got to look at is, are you in business to keep people happy and you like repairing cars, or are you in business because you want to give your family a better quality of life? See, it's a tricky one, isn't it? James?
Yeah, so hopefully you agree with me, Tim. ABP Retail Charge Out Guide.
Yeah.
Every year it's updated. And I think for some of you guys who have got your own shops and doing repair work, smart repairs, etc., go and get a copy of it. I think it's on one of the Facebook pages somewhere. I can't remember if it's on.
I've stuck it on there. I'll put it in the folders.
Yeah. So I think everybody should print a copy of it off, stick it on your wall in your office.
Yeah.
Anyone comes in and questions that, I think the current rate is £60 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
65. I can't remember. I haven't looked at it for a couple of weeks. Stick it on your wall. As soon as you get a customer come in who starts questioning you, sorry, here it is on the wall. This is
Mark, are you still there, Malcolm, by the way?
Standard. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just. Yeah. You're going down there. It's.
Okay.
I hope I'm not upsetting, but it's intensive.
No.
No, I didn't mean you then, Malcolm. I meant the lad who's just popped off then.
Ross.
Ross?
Yeah. Ross, yeah.
Yeah, I think he just lost reception, didn't he?
All right. But it's, I hope so. But yeah, one of the things I do in my estimating training is say, you know, there's things you can do there where you can get caught out quite easily, because people say, what's your labor rate? And it's the worst possible question you can be asked, because people go, oh yeah, it's X. And it's like, so if I was being a canny engineer, so is that your retail rate or commercial rate? And the thing is what you should have is you should have the labor rate on the wall. So our labor rate is £100 an hour. That's it. And they'll go, but that's an awful lot of money. Well, are you going to send me absolutely loads of work or one job? So if you're going to give me tons and tons of work for the rest of the year, then we might be able to negotiation and we might be able to do some of the labor rate, but that's our labor rate.
Yeah, once you've already sent us 5 jobs, because it's always, I will give you loads of work if you just do this one cheap. Never see you again.
Yeah, and that's it. And so you've got to be kind of very mindful of that. But the thing is that if you start off high, you can go backwards. You start off low, you can't go upwards. And people miss it all the time. You've got to be so careful with it. And I've done it myself. I've gone like, ooh, it sounds a bit much that I won't charge as much as what I think I will. And then I go, do you know what? It's taking me twice as much time to do the stuff that I thought I needed to do. And then as a result of doing that, I'm not earning as much. But what happens then is that here's a wonderful thing about hindsight. You never, ever know what's around the corner. And I'm a firm, the guys who know me know that I'm a firm believer of putting out to the universe, and you put goodness out in the universe and you help people, it'll come back. But the thing is with the way the universe works is sometimes it can be a right shit. So you do something where you get some work and then you underprice something, but then you get the work and then you're working twice as hard doing that work as what you need to be doing. Then right round the corner is an absolute peach of a contract that pays you double what you're earning now, but then you're tied into a contract where you're helping somebody out and you can't get out of it. And you're going, I've got gold hanging there and I could just grab it, but I can't because I doubted my own abilities and my own cost by taking this crap stuff in, and now stuck doing the crap I didn't want to do in the first place for crap money when I could be doing that stuff. All I needed was confidence and faith in my own abilities and my value.
Literally, as we're talking about this, sorry, it's playing. My phone's just gone off. I gave someone a quote, 320 quid earlier on. It's just messaging me now, is 320 the lowest price you can do as we're talking here.
Tell him you can put the price up if you want.
I know, yeah. That's a polite way of saying fuck up.
No, so what you do with it is you go back to him. So what part of the car don't you want repairing?
Well, yeah, that's what I normally say. Something along those lines. What part of the process do you want me to skip?
Well, not process. You just say, no, what part of the car don't you want repairing?
Yeah.
So, you know, like it needs like a bumper, a bonnet, and a wing. I'll just paint the bonnet for you. Can't do that.
I know.
But yeah, it's stuff like that is where it just gets laughable. You just can't. You just go. No, well, actually, what you've done wrong there, blame with that, is you've actually not charged enough.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, so if you do charge 700 quid for that, if you had tried a chip, you'd still be over where you are now.
Yeah.
But the problem is at 320 quid, I can't really think, aside from a bumper scuff, I can't really see much you can do for that, really. So
it's a corner and a little PDR job. I don't do PDR, but I've got a guy who does it for me next to nothing. So it's just a bumper corner and a PDR. Little boot.
So yeah, the other thing as well is it sounds daft, but don't negotiate.
No, I'm not negotiating.
You know, don't negotiate on anything. People say, well, that's my price. You know, if I wanted to do it for 20 quid less, I'd charge you 20 quid less.
Yeah.
Correct. And the thing is, like I said, it's the last thing you ought to be doing at the moment is going down in price because everything's going up. Just killing your margins. So have we got any other questions as well?
Yeah.
Go on.
I think in the past, listening to how you explain that to Ross, I've done pretty much exactly what Russ has explained that he does on a regular basis. And it weren't until I've just listened to you explain it to him that you literally go, how have I not how has that not come across to me before, that it is literally time away from my family and my kids that I'm losing out because I feel like I need to be the nice guy. It's not me who's damaged the car, but I feel like I need to be the nice guy. And sometimes it's the nice guy is me seeing my kids. And until you've just said it there, that I was like, I do it all the time, regular.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. You've got the guy who goes away and he earns hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, and he works all around the world, but he spends all his life away from his kids. And then you've got the other guy who's a live-at-home parent whose wife goes out to work and he's basically looking after the kid. Out of the two fathers, which one do you think gets the most love of his children? It's the one who's available. So the guy who's a multimillionaire and on hundreds of £1,000s a year with a great job, who spends all his life away from his kids, will try and overcompensate by spoiling them. So then all you've got is a kid who never sees his parents that's spoiled rotten. Whereas the other one, who then spends all his time with his parents and gets quality time with his parents, so then doesn't get spoiled rotten, probably appreciates what he's not got compared to the one who's got everything and doesn't, ends up like a selfish little brat. So it's a weird kind of analogy to put to it, but again, within business, valuing your time benefits your kids because it makes you a better parent, and that comes from somebody who's not even a parent, just somebody who's a bit more wisely, and that's what it is. So the art of business is the more you charge gives you time, and the one commodity that you can never get back is time. So you need to value your time as well. It's like me now with stuff I'm doing. The stuff I've been talking to Rachel about, and then I put Rachel in contact with an independent financial advisor, all to plan for a future, because what I want to do is, I've spent all my life working in companies and I've not had enough money in my pension pot to be where I want to be now. So now I'm playing catch up massively. So I said to Rachel, listen, you're still young, you're still a kid, start getting something in there now so you can plan for your future, so you don't have to do the stuff that I'm doing now, because even if you only put a small amount of money into a pot, it'll grow exponentially over a 10, 20, 30, 40 year period of time. So the sooner you start doing it, the better. You actually don't need to put an awful lot amount of money in for it to grow. Whereas at my age, because I've got less time, I now need to probably put in 4 times the amount I would have done had I ever started doing it when I was Rachel's age. So again, it's like just being business savvy, work out how to make, your time work for you and your money. And then that way you can enjoy your family and holidays and stuff.
Just a quick one on that.
Yeah.
Seeing as you mentioned LinkedIn and marketing and everything,
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's on this group that don't follow me on Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook, or anything like that, it's the Specky Painter.
Go on, I'll give you tags out.
Go on, Craig.
Hey, but that thing is, but that's the way to do it. So I'll give you an example. So this afternoon, well, you probably all guessed I'm pretty busy at the best of times anyhow. And like even tonight, it's like, so today I was up at just after 6 this morning. I was working for 6:20. I finished doing the work that I was doing for the consultancy work I was doing for 2:30. I then went to recording studio and I did a radio session that's being broadcast in 2 weeks. So we recorded it over about an hour and a bit. So I was doing an interview and stuff and talking about the repair industry and about insurance claims. And then came home, did a bit more work, cooked tea, and then straight on this. Now, I wanted to do this kind of more to benefit you guys and to benefit me, because I can just see what's going on in the industry. And it's like, from a business point of view, you all need to really, really get in on it, because I know what's happening for the future. And I can't stress it enough because it's terrifying. But it's, from my personal point of view, the work that I do, I've got to a point where so many people now know me, I can leverage it. So in the last 3 weeks, so I was with Rachel the other week in Ireland, but I was co-presenting with that. So Mike Monaghan was there, he was presenting with me. And then I was also presenting with Tim Shaw from Car SOS. Now, because of that, I'm now trying to do more stuff with Tim Shaw and Car SOS. They're on Discovery Channel. So I've got a potential to do stuff with them. Now, had I not got the relationship that I've got with a guy called Jonathan McCowan in Ireland, I wouldn't have got the gig presenting. It wouldn't have got me the chance of meeting Tim. But the weird thing about it was that Jonathan asked me, did I know of any presenters that are in the limelight that could help them to present there? And I went, yeah, I know. On LinkedIn, I know everybody. So I know a lot of TV presenters, and I know Fuzz Townsend. So I said, yeah, I'll drop Fuzz a line and see if I can get him. And he should have been doing it, but he caught COVID the week before, which led to Tim. As it worked out, it's probably better because the conversations I'm having in the background with him. The week before that, on the Monday, I was filming with BBC on Rip Off Britain. And again, that's now the third time I've been doing stuff on TV. And part of what I'm trying to do is make that part of a bigger gig where I want them to see me as being the only expert they come to for cars and insurance and engineering. Every time I get something like that, that's me shining a big spotlight on the company. So what I was saying before about marketing and advertising and leveraging it, anytime something happens, I shine it. I shine a light onto it and I try and attract other people to kind of go, oh, look at him over there. And then they get interested and it develops. But every time you get something like that, that's you saving money, not advertising. So it then means that, going back to the analogy I gave before, whereas you need to be investing 20% of your profit every month into what you're doing. If you've got a load of free marketing, rather than sticking 10% into advertising, you can now afford to stick all your profit into your advertising because you've already done a shitload by getting free referrals or free media coverage off something else. So again, if that gives you a better return back on what you're doing, and all you want is to invest money that makes you profit. Don't matter how you do it, but marketing's a proper way of investing it wisely. Because then if you market correctly for the right type of people that you want to market to, it then means that you can charge more money. You charge more money, make more profit, you've got more time to spend it with your family. Retire early. Simple, really, isn't it? See, Lee looks knackered. and absolutely covered in filler and dust and everything else. You can tell he's been grafted his backside, yeah. But it's not supposed to be on you, you know, mate. It's supposed to be on a car somewhere. Right, anything else before I wind up for the night? Any other questions? Feel free.
No.
Because you know what I'm thinking now, don't you? Like, it's too late now, probably. I'm considering, could I get a bearing before I go to bed?
It's never too late.
It's no time for that.
Yeah.
There's always, always, always time for beer.
Yeah. But it's a school night, though.
And what?
Well, I still got to be up for early doors in the morning.
Live life on the edge, Tim.
Yeah, no, you know me, I'm a rebel. Absolute rebel, me, Anna. That's right, centre.
150,000%.
Yeah, yeah, you're just a bad influence.
So there's no point in agreeing or disagreeing.
No, there we go. But yeah, so if nobody's got any other questions, I will say farewell for the night. So have you all found it beneficial?
Yeah.
Yeah, hugely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like I said, it's the main thing for me is I just want to kind of push you all because it's gonna be hard. It really is. I've been dealing with other companies and stuff like raw material costs. Like I said, I was talking to John and I chat with him, and he's saying the effects on his business. But I also know with different car manufacturers, some of the strategies they're putting in place at the moment. Some of the car manufacturers I've been talking to that I do work with, they're looking at buying. This is again ironic. Looking at buying vehicles from salvage and then stripping the stuff out of them and then remanufacturing parts of them because they can't get them. So they're actually to the point of some of the companies, because they subcontract their work to other subcontractors, they're looking at sourcing chips from old computers, old electronic products, basically anything you can think of that's got an electrical chip in it. They're looking to try and recoup that and then remanufacture them to make the new bits because they can't get them. And there's big issues going on with Korea in Southeast Asia, again for bits, and it's just like, so watch used car market price as well over the next 12 months. So they're not going to continue going down. And that means that as a repairer point of view, it means that the viability of you repairing that car is greater. So again, there's more chance for you to actually earn more profit there, because cars will be total loss in last year and the year before. They won't now, they'll be repairing them. There we go. Right. Good night, all.
Thank you, Tim.
Hope
Thank
you've
you,
all
Tim.
enjoyed it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Adam, thanks very much.
If I get a bit of spare time next week, next month or something, I might do another. Well, it won't be next week, but maybe next month I might do something a bit longer, and I might just specialise in one little bit of it.
Could someone
Yeah,
possibly send
sounds
us a
good.
link to that LinkedIn video?
Yeah, I'll stick it on the Refinishers Crew for you.
All right, fantastic, thank you.
But yeah, it's a bit long, primarily because Sonny can talk for England once he gets going
A
about
bit long. It's a bit long because it was. I think it was one of Tim's hours, which equates to a normal person's 4 hours.
So he's bullshitting here. Which one are you?
No. He's completely telling the truth. So normally what I do, because I can talk for England, I go like, right, I'll do an hour session, but then I'll talk for 3.
This one's been 3 hours nearly.
Yeah. So yeah, but again, it also makes you understand that when you have a paid session with me, because you will have a paid session with me now, because you've enjoyed it that much, you'll value your time and think, yeah, I'll pay for that. But you'll know that when you pay for an hour, you get 3. So if I do a session, you get your value for money, mate. One of them, and that's marketing. That's what you call fishing. You fish really, really hard. You get them on the hook. You reel them in for like 2 or 3 hours to teach them about stuff, and think, yeah, I need to know more about that. And they go, yeah, but it's £1.5 grand for the next one. Right, so on that note, good night, all.
No,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you all.